All good. My name is Andre. How's it going? It is the 17th of February 2022. Hopefully y'all are doing well. Hey Jessica, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. How's your Thursday night, Friday morning situation looking? Macaroni, speaking of Friday, how's it going? Hey sir, how you doing? Welcome. It's really subtle. We actually got a new camera. Can you tell? I feel like you can tell. I don't know. Maybe I said it too soon. Maybe I should have said it a bit slower to see if you notice. But this camera is not a DSLR camera, so it's not as good in low light. So now my lights are at 100%. And you can tell because I'm literally casting shadow puppets all upon my body. And it's harder to look forward now. But the picture's not bad, I guess. Baza, how's it going? Happy Thursday. Looking forward to a sweaty summer. Already? I guess in February you do feel that. I like the cold more than I like the heat, but we can't keep talking about the weather and the temperature for too long in the intro. I feel like I'm turning into someone's parents, not my parents. My parents don't talk about the weather. Oh, I see what you mean. Under those lights. Yeah, they're LEDs. They're fine. They don't actually generate any heat. I noticed something was different, but wasn't sure what it was. Seabass. Yeah, it's a new camera actually. Yeah, so I should just making complete sentences. Oh no, it's good enough. As long as they come like soon enough after, it's okay. But otherwise, I'm along for the ride, regardless how it goes. I feel like it's also lower. The camera is a bit angled lower, so you see a bit more like you get a bit more of my body language as opposed to like my head, which is fine. I think that's fine. I think that's actually more human. I really don't like it. It bothers me when there's too much headspace on just about anything. Maybe that's just me. We got a week of Netrunner. We got some news to go over today. We got some new cards. Diogene, yo, hello y'all. How you going, man? Yo, Diogene, real talk. I saw what somebody responded to you into the deck list thing in Netrunner DB, and F that ass, right? Like, oh my god, I'm so sorry about that. I hope that doesn't get you down. That person seems to be a bit of a shithead. Excuse me. Scoops time, Ash, how's it going? Thanks, mate. No, of course, man. I think everyone's with you on this one as well. Ben, hello. This is the first stream I've caught in a long time. Yo, Ben, we've missed you, man. Well, glad you can make it. You came in just in time because we have an absolute slapper of a stream this Thursday evening. We got a Tau Gateway deck, which we'll have to play in standard format. That's going to go fine. And then from that point on, we're in uncharted territories. We do actually have cards. Sangren, how's it going? New cards just in time. Yeah, we have new cards to talk about. 2 new cards. We've seen now. Actually, we've now seen 4 and fully 4 because Nisei revealed the art on the full art, at least, on one of the cards that we haven't seen so far that we did see. And it's exciting. Those 2 cards, we have a lot to talk about. We're going to get to that after the deck list of the week. We're going to kind of load things a bit. We're going to balance it out so it's not just, you know. Xaran, how's it going? Hey. How are you doing? Maybe you can win if you can build that Tau deck in Chiriboga. Oh, I think there is a way that you could actually win with this in standard. I don't think it's like ridiculously off the power axis. The thing that I was interested to know is how different this Tau deck is from the Tau startup, Gateway only deck that I have perhaps built when Gateway came out. Because that's kind of the beauty about a Gateway is that there's not that many cards, right? Like you have to play almost all the neutral cards. You have to play almost all, and we did almost all. We're not playing the van. Good stuff. The decks actually like end up pretty similar, which is a really good way of Nisei just kind of like pushing newer players perhaps towards, you know, success, which is good. I want to check. So this is the Tau Gateway deck, and I don't know if there's a write-up besides one sentence that says, oh no, actually there is. Excuse me. A beginner-friendly Shaper deck built from cards available in Gateway. I played in a small beginners tournament in Brussels, Belgium, and won exactly half of my render games with the deck. That's good enough. That's kind of what you're aiming for. As an SG-only example of the strengths of Shaper, I think the deck goes fairly adequate job. DZMZ makes building a rig a bit cheaper, along with providing extra MU to expand it. The deck lacks consistent economy outside of Teller contract, but the system Gateway card pool is so limited in general that it's not that punishing. You do the basic Shaper things, build a strong rig that allows you to break ice and access servers. If in doubt as to which server, Conduit is there for you. Legion Tranquilizer help you out. If I had to do it again, I might find room for Botulus instead of Tranquilizer. And I think that's actually a pretty good idea. Botulus works really well with Tau and Leech. It's a heavy investment, but it's such an excellent problem solver. There's a primary difference between multiple games that I lost as a corp at the same tournament where I played this deck. And I totally, I think you can see that coming through. The author wrote that they would use Botulus instead of Tranquilizer if they remade the deck. Yeah, totally. So, this is Tau. You might know at this point if you've been playing System Gateway. I feel like most people are familiar with System Gateway, which is a really good starting point if you're getting into this game. And Tau's ability is pretty good. It's pretty relevant. It gives your opponent the possibility of goofing it, which is always like a fun thing. We take those wins. We take those wins. And when Agenda scored us all, swap 2 pieces of ice, and that's really good if you have a Botulus. A Botulus is a virus. You install upon a piece of ice, and then it makes breaking that ice trivial in most circumstances. Not a lot of the ice in System Gateway have that many subroutines. I think the most is 3, right? And then you can just move that thing around, and it becomes a liability that when they score, the Botulus thing is now on R&D. Oh, I'm going in. So that's it's potentially really cool. Now Tranquilizer does in theory work. It's a bit of a slow card. We don't have any of the support like cards like Cookbook. So when this comes in, yeah, a de-res ice, moving that around and understanding how much it costs to res, that can be a big deal for a Tau as well. But the Botulus just kind of gets you there faster. And it kind of compounds on the fact that this deck probably doesn't have enough money. And when you have to install your breakers and use them, especially if you're using something with Echelon, which can be prohibitively expensive, especially outside of System Gateway, yeah, you kind of value that Botulus, let me tell you. Big issue with Tranquilizers, the Corp can still res when they really need to. Yeah, it's definitely an issue, is that they can always res the ice for the turn, because it doesn't check the D-res to start a turn, or technically when the Tranquilizer is installed. That's totally true. But it still makes it a bit awkward when you're basically committing to purge next turn. But yeah, no, I totally hear you there. Now, the big question is like, I don't know. I thought I'd be able to look at this and really quickly tell you what cards from System Gateway that should be in this list that aren't in this list, or vice versa. Like, I don't know if I can tell from a distance, like without looking at the full card pool, what could go into this and what I would change. I want to see what the Tau deck that I've built, which isn't very tuned, looks like in comparison to this. And I think the one thing that always jumps out at me is trying to figure out how much multi-axis you have in the deck. And this deck actually has very little multi-axis compared to what's available in System Gateway. So for instance, we have 2 conduits and that's kind of it. We don't have access to Jailbreak, which is a pretty good card within System Gateway without. And just about every System Gateway deck, and even any startup deck that I'll play, just about always has a single copy of DECKLISTS Pass. Just because I really value getting those HQ runs to be a bit more valuable, and having that 2 influence sync generally does you well on that front. I think that's the only thing. I've also don't think I've actually played T400 Memory Diamond in any deck ever. And I don't think you really need it with the 3DZ MZ optimizers, but we have a lot of MU we can possibly fill up. The question is, what do we play instead? Okay, how does this work? So we could sort by, I'm just gonna search. I never remember the name of this. I always goof it up. System Gateway, Shaper Gateway deck, okay. All right, so this is the difference. What are we looking at in terms of the difference? I guess we could compare things. Okay, so off the top, Echelon, Mayfly, Unity, Cleaver, we're on the exact same breaker suite, can't go wrong there. We're looking at 6 extra programs, 2 conduit, 2 leeches, so we're not spending any influence on Botuluses or Tranquilizers. So that's a big difference already. We have a 15 event package here, Creative, Overclock, Gamble, Vocation, Wildcat Strike, which is a pretty good start for sure. We're on 3 jailbreaks. We have a single copy of Mutual Favor to pull our breakers, and maybe that's more relevant when you don't have these, like, you know, not that Tranquilizer is really a solution, but we don't have the Botuluses. But we do have the jailbreaks. We have Overclock, Sure Gamble, and only 2 VRcations. And VRcations is something I found to be a bit difficult to play. And then I think the big change here is like we have the DECKLISTS Pass. I'm not too heavy on the DZMZs, but I guess we have less things to install. And then we're spending 2 influence on red teams. And I don't know if this is correct, and red team hasn't seen that much play in the standard format, and I think it possibly could. But the cool thing about red team is that it forces people, or gives people a reason to ice up servers that they don't want to ice up. And that's a really big thing with Tau Salonga. If somebody ices up archives, you have their ability, Tau's ability, to be able to move their best ice now onto archives, and that kind of does help. So I kind of like this. I kind of like the red teams in this deck. I'm not sure if it's totally necessary, but that's where our influence spend went. We got red teams and mutual favors on a DECKLISTS Pass, as opposed to what Wildcat Strikes and some Tranquilizers. That's pretty interesting. You don't really need the Pantograph either versus trying to get more DZ MZs down. Pantograph is very win more. I don't know about that. Pantograph is totally fine, right? Like Pantograph is technically in a credit card. I don't think it's necessary by any means in the list, but like it's basically 2 credits for 1 MU, which is fine for the deck. Now DZ MZ does generally give you economy as you roll, and there's a chance that Pantograph can just be your 3rd DZ anyways. Like I don't think it's that big of a difference. The free clickless install is quite nice, and even just getting a credit is quite good too. At least it's not the worst card in the deck with the verbals. Which one isn't? The Pantograph? The verbal plasticity thing is also interesting. Some people play 2, some people play 1. I think some people subscribe to the idea that like you need to turn 1, so play 3, but I don't like having these dead cards in the deck, so that's pretty good. How's it going, Kyle? I've been getting comfortable with Gateway, and 3x Revocation feels awkward if you don't want to discard down. 2 Revocation feels good. That's kind of what I felt too. Like there's been a lot of hands where you just don't have the economy to like dump down everything you want in your hand, so you're holding onto cards for a bit longer than you think you do. And then a lot of times you're ending up playing Revocation on click 1 or click 2, which isn't the worst. It really isn't that bad to do that, especially in System Gateway. But yeah, I found 3 to be a heck of a lot. And there's even chances like small things like just having a single mutual favor does potentially, and Jailbreak, mind you, is a card draw card in some ways, does like, you know, you don't need the card draws heavily. Isn't Earthrise legal in this format? This format is just System Gateway, so no. But this is technically a startup deck and technically a standard deck. I think if anything, we should play this in startup because I think it's going to be harder for us to find a gateway only game. I think I take Penny Shaver and Jailbreak instead of Red Team plus Pantograph. Yo, Celestial, how's it going? How much influence even is Penny Shaver? Because Penny Shaver is incredibly good. Even 3 Wildcat Strikes seems like 3 Wildcat Strikes does seem like a lot, especially if they start giving you card draw. This is 3 influence. Penny Shaver plus Jailbreak over Red Team Pantograph. Yeah, you have to like still shave off 2 influence, but you might be correct. I just think that barring the fact that we have Leech, so we would kind of want to run a lot, there is some incentive to be a bit more control oriented and not run as often in Tau. Because sometimes it's nice for them to have unres dice, and then so you can reposition it. Maybe if you want to have all their ice res so you get full information. But yeah, I could see it. I just feel like anytime I end up playing Tau, I play a bit more control, and I go for like surgical strikes as opposed to like, you know, run a lot and get Penny Shaver value. But I think it's probably like Penny Shaver, let alone Jailbreak, obviously together good enough, huh? Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. Yeah, the only thing that I miss is like the HQ pressure. I love the idea of that. Our HQ runs are a fair bit better, but we're only playing 1 of card anyways. I guess Jailbreaks do count for that, huh? Oh, I'm not even logged into Jane. Yeah. Yeah, apologies if I'm a bit scattered and all over the place. We don't have anything really incredibly planned for this evening. It's been a bit of this like kind of busy week or 2 weeks. So we talked a bit about how the camera is a bit different, and I'm actually reverting. This is the camera that we started this channel on. This is the same camera that filmed the first games that were on the YouTube channel back in like 2015. This is a camera that I got after what am I doing? After graduating from university. Now the camera that we've had for a long time now actually belonged to my employer, and I had to return it because tomorrow is actually my last day at my job. It's obviously a bit of a difficult situation, but I've decided to resign from my position, and I don't have anything lined up immediately after. So as of next week, I'm just kind of like by choice, by design, unemployed. And I'm looking forward to it, let me tell you. It's a bit difficult because I'd like to communicate a bit more and say like, oh, now they have more free time, we can do more with the channel or something like that, but I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to be doing with my time, and I don't want to commit to anything. I know we're gonna have some new cards to talk about soon enough. It looks like it's gonna be by March the new set will be out, or by the set I mean like the booster. We'll probably know most of the cards sooner, maybe, or at least the majority of them. We already do know the majority of them. So we're yeah, we'll figure out what we're to do. That's where I'm standing right now. Ben, how's it going? Is System Gateway the best way to get back into Netrunner? I feel like I have no knowledge of common cards that are used in Standard. Yeah, Ben, System Gateway is a really good way to get back into Netrunner. So System Gateway specifically is like an introduction product. That's a very good, if not the best introduction product that this game has ever had. Now, past that, actually, what I would say is the best format to get back into the game, especially for someone who doesn't have to learn the game, is a format that's called Startup. And startup is basically system gateway, and then the last like product and a half that Nisei has put out. So all the stuff that's, you know, print and play or you can order online. That I think is by far the best, is the startup format. It's much smaller, it's concise, it's not intimidating at all. Standard is the format that you're talking about that has everything. It's hard to get into that immediately. That's for sure. There's a lot of things you have to learn. But if you just want to dip back into it, Gateway is like a really good, nice thing to have. But if you want to go for a bigger format with more deck building and options, I would definitely go for Startup. It's a very popular format too. Were you not at UB? I was, yeah. I was at UB Montreal for, it would have been about 5 years come May. So yeah, it's definitely a change. It's wild. It's super wild. What are we doing? This is what tonight's gonna be like, right? We are doing Tau. Yeah. The Tau of running? Tread lightly is nice in Tau too. Yeah, actually, tread lightly is something that I've seen played, and specifically in like I think our startup decks. We had it a bit more often, but yeah, it's quite cute, especially for keeping that ice de-resed or committing them or forcing people to commit to these like very awkward reses where now they're bankrupt if they want to res their remote server and score at their agenda. So then you have unresed ice on R&D and you can kind of go in with the conduit. Good luck with that. I might be in a similar position soon. My job is forcing us back into the office and I'm straight up not showing up. So we'll see how that ends for me. Yo, Seabass, I hope that goes well for y'all. I know there's a lot of people like, yeah, there's going to be, you know, a reckoning of sorts when people say like, come back to the office. And a lot of people say like, no, it's not necessary. I don't want to. I don't know. Yeah, the work from home thing has definitely been a huge boon for myself. I would definitely fight for anything else. Oh wait, are we in standard? Hold on. We'll do system gateway. Extron scoops. We're gonna get to them after the deck list of the week, that's for sure. Because the scoops are really good. It's like also fun scoops because there's a lot to talk about. Like it's interesting scoops. Runner, we're gonna do startup. That'll at least even the playing field a bit. The only thing better than work from home is just being home. Yeah, I guess so. Also, if you carry your music, still playing softly. Yo, huge. I didn't commit to the full silent. Has it been good? It's been like chill, right? How loud has it been? Has it been like difficult to hear me? Whatever, it's gone now. Thank you, I appreciate it. Swordbear, what up, Andre? Just got back into Netrunner after a few years with startup thanks to the content advice. What is your favorite corp idea from the aesthetic standpoint? Yo, how's it going? Welcome. I'm glad you've been enjoying the stuff and you're getting back into the game. From aesthetic standpoint, as in like the art itself? Dang. I don't know what jumps out at me immediately. The one that always comes up as like, I think my two favorite arts, if you're just talking about aesthetics, just about like what the card looks like that has your text on it. The alt art Making News is pretty stunning. And the original alt art Personal Evolution from the Fantasy Flight Games world are very, very good. But maybe that's not what you mean by aesthetic. And if that's the case, just let me know and we'll take another shot at it. But I think that's my favorite. I'm pretty sure. Macaroni says, I'm terrified of unemployment though. Having a family and a mortgage, it does seem like a good time to look for a job in tech at least. Yeah, I know. From my understanding, the market is, you know, favorable for employees. But I hear you. I'm definitely at a position where I can comfortably take some time off, which is something I appreciate. My partner supports me too, which is quite good. Exactly what I meant. Okay, perfect. Nailed it. 1 for 1. What do you think? What's your favorite? Do y'all know what these are? Like, I don't know if we're gonna find it. Making News, alt art, Netrunner. IG has best art aesthetic. Excuse me if I read that. The IG art is actually like quite nice. I just think people don't like it. This is the Making News one. It's the lens off of what assuming the satellite looking over the world. I do not know if these light structures support the mega city idea. I feel like they might not, but maybe they do. That is pretty dense over there. And then Personal Evolution, alt art, Netrunner. Theme-wise and mechanic-wise, I like Earth Station. Theme-wise and mechanic-wise, Earth Station is quite cool. That's for sure. Yeah, this is a very low quality PE one. This one I like a heck of a lot. I have a huge love for full card art. Yo, PMK, then you're gonna like the booster set. Let me tell you. Oh, here we're in. Let's go. Hey, speaking of PE, Oh yeah, I keep forgetting PE is legal in this format. Dang. All right. Hey. All right. So I'm not actually sure what PE really looks like within this in system and within startup. I think the biggest issue is that we don't have Stargate, which is our best way to deal with a lot of the traps in this sort of deck. The Tau Memory Diamond is kind of useful, not entirely. The Tranquilizer is not very useful early. Telework and Conduit are the best cards, but we generally just don't want to jam Conduit and close the game off R&D. Like I don't think we slam. I think we want to stabilize a bit, so we're gonna mulligan this. NBN art is beautiful. It's real fun. It's real like kind of chilling too. That's a mulligan. Yeah, it totally is. Opening with a hedge fund. 2 remote servers. All right. You know how it goes. We don't care what we're doing. We're just checking cards. Hit us with the Urtica. It's a house of knives. We'll take it. Oh, lots of telework. It's fine. They generally don't put 2 agendas on the table. I'm assuming that's a snare and Urtica. Getting a house of knives. There's no other like scary 3-1, right? It's sting. There's a chance that's a sting. Okay, let's find it. This is probably snare. It's fine. Oh, we have to deal with Anger and Flesh too, which is... Yeah, there's the Urtica. Okay, we should have believed ourselves. There's no way they put 2 agendas on the table. Now they know we run everything, which can be our downfall. We lost our Creative Commission, which was the card we kind of wanted to play there. We'll just keep drawing up a bit. We have to watch out, because we only have a 40 card minimum deck size, which doesn't help against a deck that just wants to like jam anything on the table that will net damage you. And we don't have any expose, we don't have any disruption, we always have to access their cards. And we have no way to economically like influence them, so they have less than 4 credits so that we can't, you know, not get snared. Housekeeping, let's go, caught it live. Yo, welcome, you made it. I know the booster set's going to be full art, but will the rest be too? Nah, Paul, I think the booster set is exclusively going to be full art to give you an incentive to purchase that product. Because in theory, if you don't purchase the product, you're not missing out anything if you buy the full Borealis set, or whatever it's the actual thing is called. I forget, they renamed Borealis, which is like the thing I was excited about, but then I forget what they called it. But basically, like, it's to give you an incentive to buy the booster set, as opposed to just waiting for the thing to come out in the summer or whenever it's coming out. Any word on spoiler season? Sort of. Like, we've seen 2 more cards, but if you're talking about the spoiler season for the whole set, no. Because it's gonna be a while, right? They said the summer, right? Later this year. This is not good. I'm just gonna start hitting things. We have a new card to dissect this week. We have 2 new cards to dissect this week. It's a Palisade. Okay. It's a breaker. Yeah. Mine's probably Nisei Nearth Hub or Nisei Division. What's Nisei Division? I don't like, I guess we have no money. I guess that's what we're doing. I really want to leech. I just jumped in. We're doing the decklist of the week. It's Gateway format. Oh, we are. Yo, Kyle, how's it going? This is the decklist of the week, but we're playing in startup instead of Gateway because they technically do fully overlap. Ah, it's a House of Knives. So now at any point in time that we can take 4 damage if we run, because they can House of Knives into snare. Really should have ran that. Saisentan, that's scary. Our killer is actually quite bad. Pantograph is... in startup, I'd rather have Onicom because it prevents us from dying. Pantograph doesn't see a lot of play at all, even in this format. It's bad to throw out cards, so I think we're not going to throw out cards. I think we're just going to draw up. We can install the Cleaver to go down to 1 hand, to go down to no credits. Like, we're not using our DZ optimizer value, but this doesn't seem to like too financially of a motivated thing. Midnight Sun, thank you, Nichan. Appreciate it. Yeah, Midnight Sun's the name of the first part of Borealis cycle, which is much better than calling it Borealis. Second question, if you could be any runner for a day, who would it be? That's a weird question. I don't know if I could be any runner. Maybe we can just be... I feel like Noise is probably just really fun. Like, I'm okay with his attitude. Just kind of obnoxious. But he has a game plan, right? He's not just installing all the viruses, probably. That's the bad aspiration. I was going to say Geist, and then I just was trying to think of why, and it's because I like Geist, and then his chest, I guess. Jesse, Borealis cycle at this time of year, at this time of day. Yeah, I know how it's going. It's localized. Verbal's fine. We're not really doing anything, and our money's quite bad, so this is good. Assuming you're in AR universe, yeah, no, for sure. Andromeda experience having a nice life. Yo, macaroni. That's a good take. I'm into it. All right, if this is a Sai Centon, it's really quite bad for us. Sai Centon is 5 to res, and it'll probably kill us. If they score out what's, I don't know, an Issei token, a flower sermon? Make me Adam, please. Adam is kind of a miserable story. So I'm going to be running HQ, because assuming that they go underneath 5 credits, we can access here and hit a snare or whatever. Yeah, and if they fight this, now if we trash the snare, they don't have enough money for them to res the Sice and Sound on the remote or the Palisade. So we can draw up here. If this is an Urtica, does 4 damage, so now we can steal their agenda. So we baited them. We did a snare goad because they saw the snare and they're like, you have to hit a snare. And now we steal a flower sim. You see what we did there? Absolute geniuses. The snare was the best card for us. And now we'll put the Urtica on HQ. We have a tag. Honestly, this card is actually probably worth it. Great. Oh, Max is cool too. Yeah, Max is really cool, but Max seems kind of miserable. Like Max, Frank, how's it going? Maybe it's the whole Mega Buy life, but I don't know. I read a book once. Max didn't seem like she was happy. All right, 2 cards on the table. They have 3 credits, so they can't snare us. We're just gonna hit everything. We swapped the 2 ice, which maybe was a mistake, but they can't Sice and Taunt us, so Engram Flesh would be ugly. If they House of Knives, then you would access there, though. If they House of Knives, we still had enough, right? Because there's 3 + 1. We had 4 in hand. I think we'd be fine. I tried this deck yesterday and I hate the Tranquilizers. Botches feel so much better. The person who, oh, that's great. The write-up does suggest the swap. Yeah, I think you might be right. The Tranquilizers are not going to be good in this. Spin Doctor, that's gone. Because Max does 16-hour shift at the Mega Buy. I stand by what I said. Yeah, I appreciate that. Or I respect that. Excuse me. I feel like we respected the House of Knives. When you stop being Max, do you keep any brain damage you acquired as her? No, you turn around and you look at your stack and it's gone. You don't know what happened. All right, I reckon we need to maybe eventually deal with this thing, but I just don't see a world where they can afford to advance their the clearinghouse. I don't. The money's got to come from somewhere. Oh, subliminal. There it is. There's the money. I guess there's no punishment for ending the turn with 0 cards anymore. Oh yeah, there is. Complete image. There's okay. They're on 5. So now Sice and Taunt is like a problem. Sice and Taunt costs us 6 credits to break, so that'll never happen in our lifetime. This is really awkward because we can't actually do anything here. I feel like we're gonna run archives. Because if they hit us with the House of Knives, whatever, and this denies them a subliminal, maybe our money is so bad that we shouldn't be doing stunts like this. And now we're also discarding a card, which feels pretty rough. Guess there's no punishment. Excuse me. Get used to the smell of burnt toast. Oh, no. Oh, no. Would they give you the cards on Wildcat Strike here? Yeah, probably. Because especially if we played it at that late in our turn. All right, you can keep advancing that. That's totally fine. They have 4 credits, so this can be snare, right? Like there's only 1 more House of Knives, 1 sting. So that's a bit dodgy. With 9 credits, if we run R&D, we have event, program. So I think we're just gonna put this thing down. They'll get the subliminal back, which is a bit obnoxious. But now we can, in theory, face check a Sice and Taunt. Unexpected Canadian heritage moment. Yeah, they sneak up on you. Little does the world know that they've all been part of Canadian heritage moments. Ah, shit. It's this thing. Okay, that's fine. Swap ice. Yeah, they're destitute. I don't actually remember. It doesn't give you good feedback when you swap derezzed ice, so we're just hoping for the best. I would love to rip a conduit off the top. Well, if we put this down, we don't die to snare. We could die to Engram, actually. So we have to draw 1 so we don't die to Engram. Because if they name event and then they hit us with the House of Knives, we would die to Engram. Oh, fuck. We lose. Oh, we don't lose. Do we lose? Oh, we lose. What? Huh? How? How much damage does Sting even do? What? Equal to the number of copies of Sting in the other player's score area +1. I thought we were going to die to this. I didn't think we were going to die to Sting. Thanks, you too. So wait. I've never died to Sting on stream before. Why? The most complicated card in the whole game. When a player scores or steals, we did it. Do X net damage. X is equal to the number of copies Sting in the other player's area. So we would take 3 net damage from stealing a Sting? No matter what, that was a stupid idea because there was a, what's it called on the table. So yeah, that was on us. Jank, baby. This is pretty standard PE fare. Yeah, we could have maybe snowballed a bit there, but I was not expecting to take 3 damage from a single source. Did they House of Knives us too? They did. Yeah. Okay. Our bad. It did 2 damage according to log. Yeah, this will do 2. But then PE does 1. And then we had to respect, in theory, the thing on the table that did 1 anyway. So even if it did 2 damage, we would have died. So it was a very stupid idea. Are these decks in Netrunner with really are there decks in Netrunner with really divergent playstyles win conditions? Paul, totally. Very, very totally. There's no really card in Netrunner that has like, if you do this, you win written on it. Like some other card games have. But there are decks that like, well, okay. On the corp side, you generally have 1 or 2 win conditions. The question is how you get there. Like scoring to 7, easy. That's pretty standard. Fast advance scoring to 7, that's a bit different. Or flatlining. Flatlining, how do you flatline? Do you flatline through attrition? Do you flatline through traps? Do you flatline through massive damage? Do you flatline through punitive? Brain damage. There's a lot of ways to do it. On the runner side, it's a bit more, it's just like there's combo decks that will blow up the board or do something wild and win on 1 turn. You can mill the corp, which is a bit harder modernly, but they classically did. Vandit is combo. That technically existed at some point. But fair. Oh, hey, Stephen Bell. It's PE. Yeah, it was. Wait, which corp ID is the new PE from, what's it called? From System Gateway. Lol. I was the PE just played against. Thanks for the game. Hey, interested to watch through and see your perspective on that game. Darren, how's it going? The perspective of our game was generally economic denial. I think the good play we did was to hit the snare so that you could not protect your ice on the remote server, but I did not realize that we could take 3 net damage off of running R&D there at the end. I don't respect Sting, but on top of that, like running there was strictly wrong. And that's the thing with PE. If someone just does the wrong move, it's over. Which is, there's nothing wrong with that. We just have to, I think, focus a bit more because there's no way that going for a single access to throw the game was the play. Don't throw the game is the play. Let's do another one. What's it called? Startup. I feel like all caps seems a bit more aggressive than it needs to be. Yes. Yeah. We got a bit unfortunate. I don't know what we were looking for at the beginning of the game. Like we never established our economy too well. A lot of times I want to check on the table what people put down because if someone fires a snare, it's pretty difficult. One of the best things you can put on the table in the early game is actually an Urtica. I'll take the 2 damage. It's good enough. It was a tough call for me, TBH. Had just enough to res and protect the flower sermon. Yeah, Darren, I was pretty sure that what the remote is either a Palisade or what's it called? Or the Saisentan. And so I understood if you hit the snare there that you couldn't do both. Let alone either, excuse me. So that we went for it for sure. Because it looked like it was a flower sermon. Apparently this deck is implemented in Shiraboga. Which one? The deck list of the week? Widowmaker is a great kill deck. I don't actually remember which one Widowmaker is. I think it's the one. Is that the one that you just? Is it the assassin guy? He's not a thing anymore. Or is it just a what's it called deck? I can never remember the name of that Wayland card. It was Palisade. Good switching, calling it a good call switching out. Yeah, Palisade is one of the ones that wow, what's it called? Obviously, Tau can get some benefit from. Oh, this is gonna be a rubbish matchup. Hey. So this is going to be really quite bad for us. And I think we're walking into these a bit ourselves by playing outside of just System Gateway. This is Architects of Tomorrow, which is generally going to be a very, very slow deck. And they're just going to overwhelm us by having a lot of Bioroids on the table. And Bioroids are generally very expensive for us to break. The fact that we don't have access in this format, we do. But the fact that we're not playing Boomerang or Botulus is going to be an issue. And the fact that Tranquilizer really doesn't do anything in the matchup, which is 6 of our influence, based off the fact that like re-reses are dirt cheap, it's going to be a problem. So not expecting a lot, but we're going to take what we can get. I think one of the best things we could do is establish an early economy and just conduit them very heavily. Because yeah, the Architects of Tomorrow it's a real problem over time. We do not generate more value than they do. Ready for a taste of your own Infiniganks? Oh, I'm going to hit the concede button so fast because I know what we're into. This hand is like fine. Pantograph technically is the best on this turn, so let's do it. Why not just play SG? Jay, how's it going? I was worried that we wouldn't find a game. I thought this would be faster. I was worried that people aren't queuing up, but I might be wrong about that. I just haven't like played System Gateway only on Netrunner unless it's against like people I know. Have a great game. Gonna watch through. Hey, cheers, Darren. Thanks for the game. Tao can dab on AOT's ability though. Can he? Not really. Like it doesn't matter if you reposition the ice if the ice is still just really quite good. Did they mulligan? They kept. A lot of times you want to put 2 ice down because otherwise I'm actually interested in running R&D because that forces them to res. And if they res, it's okay. There you go. That's what you want to do. I think also that in Gateway you run dry on credits easily. Having few credits I think might have made the previous game more challenging. Having few credits, it's not the matchup where you need the money the most, but it made some turns really awkward for us where I'd like to just have enough money that we can run into a Saisentan as opposed to like spending 2 turns to click up to 5. Obviously that's not good. Okay. I don't think we can get a lot of value off the Pantograph, but hey, that's a beginning. Because I don't know what their agenda suite is, right? So they have Vitruvius's, they have Luminal. From that point on, like, what are you playing? Are you just playing all the neutral stuff? Because there's nothing that like is, oh, you play the 4-2 that lets you like install a card from your deck, right? The whatever they call it, the accelerated alpha test, the beta test in-joke card. If they're not doing anything, we're going to wait for the cards to flood up and then they're going to play Sprint. Creative Blast is fine. We can draw again. Wildcat Strike is really interesting. We can open with that next turn. Ideally, we would want the cards, but I don't think there's any way they're going to give it to us. I actually don't think we Creative Commission last click. I think we keep drawing through a deck. Like, our money situation's pretty good. Yeah, our money's okay. We just need to get breakers and we need to get pressure. But again, we pass ice. That means that there's some cool things you can do. You can like run into an Eli or a Braun, right? Uh-oh, that's a ganked. Server 1, Architect deployment, thank you. Giles, how's it going? So this could be seamless launch into 4-2. Basic. Also, how's it going? Welcome. So like we could just run that. They're gonna get a lot of value. Whatever. It's likely to be the grid that we have to trash for 4. The Tranquility. This is a Braun here. So I honestly think we could consider bouncing through this. We don't want to click through this. Oh, our Cleaver's gonna be so bad. Oh man, you really need Botulus. Do we want to spend a click to stop them from installing a card? No, they can install it if they have it. I don't know how much ice this deck runs. Like if it runs more than usual. Oh, no, that's not good for us. Let's save them a click and a credit. It's actually pretty valuable. All right, well, we just want to build our Doom Rig. We don't also have Rozekis, which is kind of, you know, the backbone of a lot of startup decks, especially slower decks like this, where Rozeki really forces you to do something. And we don't have that because we're stuck on System Gateway only. Wonder if we can get a DZMZ down first. The res for free, though? The only res for free if we pass the ice. So we have to pass the ice. That's why I don't want to click through this, because it's our whole turn and they get a cheap res. So a lot of times I like bouncing so they don't get their ability. Oh, there is a Nico. Well, if you click left, why would they do that? Because we could run HQ here. I'm going to. On 2 credits, I don't know if there's any Bioroid they could res. That's obviously, I don't think they wanted to do that, and we look like an ass capitalizing on it. Is that a misres? Oh, I'm an ass. Oh no. Oh no. I look like an ass, huh? You didn't want to res that, right? Because there are 2 credits will run HQ. There's probably an agenda in here. There's a sprint. Okay, so the agendas they're not gonna have issues with. Okay, good. All right. Oh man, yeah, that's a bit scummy. That's fine. That's fine. We take those, I guess. All right, it's just a Nico. So good thing we didn't commit to that. So we're looking at Mana Garms. There's a big chance with only 12 influence that they can still play you know, the good one, the Anoetic Void. Let's start with the Wildcat Strike, but there's no way that they'd give us cards here. Sick. A sure gamble we didn't need. Tranquilizer is fine. I think we can strap that on there, but the issue again is they res us for 2 credits in a lot of situations. The good thing is that we tranquilize it and then we run it, or like that's what we run first. So I guess we'll put it down. If we ripped, yeah, Giles, we felt kind of bad there, but we gotta consider running HQ. At some point, we just have to be like, okay, you're gonna get value whether or not. Like, just res all your ice. We'll have to deal with it. But again, Rozeki. Oh, Chan, how's it going? Hey, yo, how you doing? Okay, Nico's gonna draw, so they'll draw 2 cards next turn. Just cling for credits again. It's a very slow matchup, so this one we're gonna try and play a bit faster. Just we'll draw again. We don't have a DZ, so we're just gonna put down some breakers. Still have access to a lot of money in our hand. Echelon is now 2 strength, which means we boost once for on sell. We can get this so that it breaks on sale for 3 credits. That would be a best case scenario. And then Unity will actually be really good as well. The thing that we're struggling to break are things like Brawn and Eli, because Cleaver does not scale well outside of Leech. So it's that is bad for us. No, we're gonna go through new cards right after this game, so we'll be there in just a bit. All right, so we have to get through the Brawn, which will be D-res. So I think we actually want to spend a click maybe to run this. Oh, and a next. Oh, that's cool. So if we run here, we force them to spend 6, or they res this and then we have to break it. So if it's a barrier, I think we're fine. We can consider doing that. Yeah, for sure. Got it, for sure. So we can't click through stuff, but I still think we would consider running this because we can break anything besides a barrier. And the barriers are the least scary. So I want them to spend 6 on this. This is the lockdown. It gives all their ice, considering all their ice are probably Bioroids, plus 2 strength. And we cannot use the text, so we can't click through them. So now if they want to res this, it's going to be 6 credits out of pocket. Now Anoetic, obviously an issue. Managarm, a bit more manageable. We have 2 clicks if we really need to. But we might have to double click through an Eli if that's what's behind here. I'm not actually sure if we click through the subroutine on the first one. I think we have to. Interesting enough, keeping the tranquilizer ice on the outside makes it more awkward. Unless this is a Cyberdeck sandbox, which is actually kind of likely to be. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm in. I can't click through sub yet, totally. Oh! That's fine. Okay. That's fine. That's okay. I don't want to click through this. We didn't pass it. Right? Why did they get money back? Oh, they get 3 credits back. I thought they were going to be on 4. Okay. So we lost our echelon. We're on 3 hand size, so we have the memory diamond. Ooh. So we can go HQ here. It's kind of tough with the X now because an on-sell would actually be really quite bad. We'll draw up again. Conduit's good. If they score out, we know we can always drop the this onto R&D, hoping that this is not like a credit positive agenda, which if it is like a sandbox, I think we can probably just scoop. Tears for Fears. It's okay though. They spent like 7 credits on this. I'm just hoping that this isn't a credit positive agenda. Good. Fantastic. Because now we can actually do Tau stuff. We can do Tau to swap this onto here, which they can't res. We can install this, and then we can maybe even win the game. Lots of tranquilizer in hand. Yeah, we also don't have access to Simulchip, but this is where we can do Tau stuff. This is the power of Pantograph. So the only thing we die to here is Snare, and they have to discard a card. So we're just gonna go. We can do a lot of damage here. We could also position this back onto HQ if we think we want to go here. We're just going to keep going. See as many cards as we can. They kind of really have to purge next turn. We're just going to keep trashing. I'm surprised to see some of these cards. We are spending too much money. Ravana, it's Code Gate on 3 res, 5 strength. Another fully operational. Oh my god. This is not good. So their fully op is like 3 credits next turn. This is bad, y'all. I thought we were gonna have something there. So what do they do? Archive Memories gets them back the next, I reckon, once they need it. But they're in a sticky situation, right? Because they have to put a second ice here. If we, like, that's the thing, is if we go through an ice, they can res this thing for 2, but then it's not good. Fully op. They're on 7. Yeah, that's a bad whiff. Oh, it's gone. So Ravana copies tier. So that's disgusting. We know the next 3 cards, and we have something in server 1. It's likely that there was a ice agendas in HQ. I'm guessing based off how we whiffed off of R&D. If we hit this, we have to discard pretty heavily. I feel like we have to. Or we could do it next turn. If they score out, I would love to have something to install with Pantograph. I feel like we just have to kind of go here. All right, so, wow. Those are 3 cards we want to keep. We're actually going to throw out these. That was actually perhaps really bad. I thought we were going to draw worse than that, but we drew cards we need. Huh. Oh, that sucks. Because these are actually a lot of money. Yeah, maybe not the smartest VRcation. That's just Maryland. My King Emperor is Eki, right? This is going to go to time. So that's likely a Ravana there. And they're just clicking for credits. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we can play this one out. We would see 3 new cards on R&D. But they have 8 credits. Like, we just have to camp the remote. And there's an Anoetic in the remote. We have no game. Chat, what do we do here? I don't think we can pull this off. I feel like the system gateway to start a matchup mispairing is way bigger than I thought it would be. At least for certain matchups, and this is not going to be a good one for us. Like, we have very limited economy. We have no infinite economy in the deck. Like, we have no Rezekis. We don't even have well, with the van that sells goods, which technically is infinite economy card, right? Like, once we install all of these, we have literally no money. I need some support here. Because I got nothing. Yeah, smart word distributor. That's the one. Wait a second. Could we have broken tier? No, probably not. Sounds bad. Gwen, how's it going? How you doing? This deck look like it needs smartware? I don't think so. Yes, Gateway versus Standard, I think I concede. Yeah, I think it's a way worse para than I thought it would be. I thought we'd be able to get away with it. But no, I don't think we can. Yeah, if it was a faster matchup, we'd actually be like appreciated. Oh, not appreciated. It would be less of an issue. But yeah, the value over time, we just can't get there. We also don't have any like burst. Like if we had burst, you can always kind of win out for D if you have like a Maker's Eye or even a Jailbreak. But like if they purge, we're back to having nothing on the table. Could have paid tier, but only break 2, I think. It's my birthday. Yo, Gwen, happy belated. How'd it go? So a Nico and the Brawn they threw out, which we knew. Yeah, that would have been bad that we couldn't have dealt with the upgrade, which looks like a Managarm. If the Ice Archives, you could tout tier. Yeah, no, that'd be cool. It's a thing we could do for sure. This is again why the version I think I had a red team, just so that we could like force them to consider putting some ice there. But like once we install the cleaver, we're clicking for credits. Oh, that's a potentially a liability too, and that makes sense because they're have another fully operational in hand. But like, how cheaply do we break? What's it called? A Ravana. Like now we're just clicking for credits. Like, oh man, a single Rozeki will give more money than they installed a card. It looks like they archived a Nico, but it could be a cool bluff. I'd be really into it if it was a really cool bluff. Oh, that's okay. Okay, the whole family's here. Buy followers? No. Ban robot? Yeah. Yeah, now we could, in theory, put the tier like in front of the Nico. That's the one thing you can capitalize on. But now they have 13 credits. Oh, no, I think we're going to concede this one. Like, we can count how much money we have left in our deck, and it is not a lot. We have 1 Sure Gamble. We have 2 Wildcat Strike. Oh, I should move my face. I don't know why they're not purging. They could definitely lose to just, like, us running R&D here. Fully operational to gain even more money? Like, what's the worst case scenario? Oh, looks like they're scoring. They're going to play another lockdown, right? Okay, so this boosts each installed icebreaker. So 1, 2. Okay, so it's 4 to break. It's 4 to break Ravana. Instructions unclear. 8 viewers. 20 whole years old. Hey, it was really chill. Went out and had a walk and got a nice tea. Then spent some time with my best friend. Much more relaxed than previous birthdays, which is really positive. Yo, that's really nice. I'm glad you had a good day. 20 is a good one, let me tell you. We want to install another icebreaker. It actually helps because it makes our echelon 4 strength for whatever, for on sell, and it makes this boost once to Ravana, which saves us a credit per Ravana. So Mayfly unfortunately is too much MU. Oh, we have to install our MU cards first. Oh, drat. At least we install this cheaply. So Hammer was swung. I think it was swung. They were at least banned from Restream. Ludmilla, how's it going? All right, they're giving 20 credits. Oh man, they're giving themselves the ability to deal with Tau. I don't know. I'm gonna do these two. Hope for the best. How are you doing, Ludmilla? Choose a card to install. 1 credit memory diamond. We haven't drawn none of our Ds at MZs. There are 15 cards left. Optimal ordering. All right. So now they're in theory on game point, but there's no really strong 5/3. Maybe they were play what's it called, the free res one, because they have tier and stuff in their deck. But we just need more money. Viorication first and second. Oh, there you go. I think we're just gonna run. 10 credits seems like enough. I just want another breaker. Extremely hyped for Forbidden West in a couple hours. It's not out. Is it only out in a couple hours, or are you getting it in a couple hours? Oh, and how's it going? We took a gateway deck into startup, and it's not looking great. I'll be honest. If they don't purge here, we can win. I feel like we probably should have just gone for it. Oh, we have 4 hand size. That's a midnight release. Oh, right on. Okay, cool. I saw all the reviews, and the reviews seem to be really good. I thought it was already out. Excuse me. Oh, excuse me. I actually haven't played the first one. I have it. Just chilling. It's coming out in less than 3 hours. Do you have it preloaded? Is it a PS5 only thing, or can you do that on the PlayStation 4? Man, 13 credits. That's all we're gonna have. Not even other startup? No, it was just a gateway deck, and I should have respected it and done gateway only. So hopefully we lose to a seamless launch scoring of 5/3. Let's see if they give us cards here or money. You can get on PS4 also. Oh, cool. I think I've only seen the PS5 gameplay, but I reckon it's good. The last one came out on PS4. Wow, they actually gave us some money. Okay, here we go. We're going to win on this run. We're going to see all the agendas. There's a Ravana, which I thought we traded off this remote server. So what did he cost? 4? Fantastic. So now they can get their cheap res deck. Fine. It only cost us 1 billion credits. Wow. I guess. Cool. 10 credits for run. Affordable. Braun. Click for credits. Good game. I had some good accesses. What can you do? Nothing. $10 credits seems decent. There we go. Seamless. What? Oh, they installed something in server 2 as well? Oh, what is this? That was the longest. It doesn't matter. At least we can hopefully take this off of a server. Hopefully. Choose a card to install? I don't think we want to. It actually might be worth trashing the leech to install the Mayfly. It cheapens, well, no, it doesn't cheapen the breakers we need. It cheapens the echelon. But this thing is good for that. You can actually score this turn. I don't know if they know that. I think they might have set up a cool luminal combo. It's just a 5-3. Okay, so we lose here. Told there be agendas? I know. So we got nothing. We see one more card on R&D. You have the MU since you installed the memory damage? No, I know, but Mayfly's 2 MU, right? How's it going, drunk? The echelon gets stronger, sure, but the leech is worth at least 2 credits for the cleaver, so I don't think it's exactly worth it. Yeah, yeah, this thing is a bit clumsy. It's 2 MU. I don't know. We got it. Like, they haven't sprinted, so I think they have like enough agendas in HQ. I think we're just gonna click for credits, so it's gonna be over. We did nothing. We had some cool plays. Hey, good game, but never again. Never again are we gonna enter a system gateway, a startup deck into a system gateway thing. Oh yeah, by a mile. No, it's a lot better. A Rezeki on turn 14 is pretty nice. Don't forget to say you were so lucky after GG seems to be the hot trend on JNet. Has it been like that? That sucks. That's really shitty. Could have pulled a gateway deck out for you, but I was taking some digging. No worries. I should have gated. No, I'm not gonna say that. Yeah, thanks for the game, eh? Playing my first Nisei event ever Wednesday. Yo, Frank, what are you playing? What kind of event is it? Hey, cheers. Cheers. That's really cool. Events are happening back up. Yo, I had a sick weekend in card gaming. And this isn't Netrunner because we're not doing a lot of Netrunner just yet in our event, but we had a Farewell to Wraith, like the last Farewell to Wraith is a set in Flesh and Blood. And I'm not a particularly good drafter. And so it was a drafting tournament. And so it was 16 players. We filled the event, and then you're broken into 2 pools of 8, and then you draft, and then you play 3 rounds with your draft deck. And I went 2-1, which put me to the top table. And then we drafted again, and I built a different deck, and I went 3-0, and I won a whole box. And it was like just the most fun drafting in this it's so good drafting in Flesh and Blood. 9 out of 10. Yeah, I bought a system gateway to start a fight. Kind of did it. Played my first fan one. It was started. I won 1 game. Yo, Frank, sick. Yo, well done. What'd you bring? Congrats. Thank you, Gregory. It was really fun. Honestly, it was great. That's my favorite format across multiple card games. I have, like, that's the thing that I've been at a huge disadvantage. I always thought for draft, because I'm playing draft against a lot of people that came from other like CCGs who are like, oh, I draft all the time in Magic. And I'm like, how do you draft? What are the rules? And people, so like, I'm not very good at it. Like, I don't feel like I do a good job reading the table. I don't feel like I do a good job remembering when things wheel or like what's in what pack and seeing what people can do. But it was a really good time. Let me tell you, I think I got lucky. I did read the table well, because I started drafting one thing and then I hard pivoted basically both drafts, and it paid off really well. Any good pulls? No, not really. Like no legendaries, no majestics drafted. I was drafting to win, not like just majestic drafting or whatever. If I ever do an RCDL and R+80 to join, yeah, I'm totally in parallel. That sounds really fun. That draft is well tuned. Yeah, it really is. That's a really fun set for draft. Zaya Runner? Which one got you the win? Sounds like Montreal needs to build a cube and give you more practice. They really do. And now the thing in Flesh and Blood is like the thing that they're going to draft until June is Tales of Aria, which is like, it's okay. It's fine. It's just, there's only 3 heroes, so it's a bit more homogenous maybe. Okay, we got news. And boy, do we have good news. That's right. We're back at it again. Nisei's got a new raffle. you can just follow Nisei, and there's a playset of mimics. They're nice. But that's not what we're here for. We got new cards to talk about. That's right. I'm going to keep showing the thing that isn't exactly the new thing. But this is the first time we've seen Deep Dive. The full art from Katchen. Fantastic. We saw this a bit garbled before. But this is a really cool card to see it all come together. 5 influence. That's news. That's not a thing we knew before. Is that something they talked about before? 5 influence on this thing? Checky restoring humanity. Frank. That's an uphill fight. The runner won me a game. Okay. Restoring humanity is, I think, probably the weakest in a system gateway. So well done. Hope you had a good time. Made some friends too, or some enemies. Just make something. That's what's important. We should get an Netrunner cube group going. Yo, I'd be in. Netrunner's draft is also really fun. But these are the 2 new cards. And again, I think there's been some confusion about this, myself as well, but you see these cards in full art form, so they don't have like the standard text box like most Netrunner cards. And from my understanding, the booster pack are going to be all in full art. So there'll be 7 cards available in full art. These cards will be showing up in the Midnight Sun actual set, but they will not be full art. So this is a really good time to get in for that. It was 4 influence in a spoiler article mistakenly. Thank you. Okay, so it's changed to 5 influence. This is a really big deal, right? Because this is a generically good card. And just making something 5 influence Shaper, maybe that's why people will play Shaper. I doubt it, but yeah. 8-player tournament IRL in Australia. That's playing Netrunner in person also is like just such a treat. Such a treat. Okay. All right. We got 2 new cards. Let's talk about this one. This is Hakaro 1.0. Firstly, how can you not talk about the art? This is Yakuza art. Yakuza does a lot of like alternate art Netrunner stuff, does a lot of like laser engraving and carving. You might have seen their art on, I think, Rizeki, and I feel like there might be another Yakuza art out there. But this is Hakaro 1.0. It is a HB Bioroid. God, this art's so fun. It's 5 to res, 4 strength. It's a barrier. It's a Bioroid. It's AP. And it says, when you res this ice during a run against this server, you may derez another installed card. If you do, the runner cannot use paid abilities printed on Bioroid ice for the remainder of this turn. Lose a click, break 1 subroutine on this ice, only the runner can use this ability. So it has a standard 1.0 Bioroid text and has 2 subroutines, do 1 brain damage and end the run. It is 3 influence. Street Shark. I really want a Hakaro playmat. This play would be a really fun playmat. It has arms on the left side. It's pretty wild. Yakuza did a really primo turning wheel art. I'm not actually sure if I know that one. It's like the colorful one, the circle. He says, referring to what a wheel looks like. Okay, so let's talk about this card. Firstly, the flavor is so fun. If I'm not mistaken, Hakaro is like a kind of Icelandic fish that is prepared by burying it in the sand for a while until it gets all sorts of ripe, and then you dry it out and then you eat it. And apparently it's pretty, depending who you speak to, it's an acquired taste, which is really fun for a card that actively has to bury something to become powerful. That's, I think, quite cool. Now, this ability is like really finicky and it is potentially quite powerful, but also I think in a lot of situations doesn't do much for the cost of what it asks for, kind of. It's a bit of a nuanced card. So firstly, I want to say, if you look at this card on its own, 5 to res, 4 strength, 2 subroutines is quite bad. What is this, especially when there's a lot of paperclip out there, so people generally break this for 3 credits, right? Like people break this for the same as Palisade on the remote server, but they can't click through it. Now Palisade doesn't have a face check. This has a face check. If you don't want to click through it, you take a brain damage, and a brain damage is okay. It's not the most important subroutine. I think people are more afraid of brain damage than it actually ends up mattering in a game, unless you're on a brain damage or lethal deck, which not really a thing we do right now. Oh, Boomerang gets through too. Yeah, that's an issue. So stats wise, I would still rather play Eli 1.0, a card that is 3 to res, 4 strength barrier with 2 end the runs, as opposed to this. Especially the 2 end the runs, while it doesn't have a face check, means that they're clicking through it. They have to click through both end the runs. On this, it's a 1-click tax, and then I'll probably end up saying I'll take the brain damage and I go through. So not a great strength to cost ratio, but the cool thing about this card is something that I really like Nisei, that Nisei is doing, and I think it's a really interesting part of the potential design space of Netrunner, in which cards do more than just have strength and subroutines. So this actually has an on-res ability that matters at certain times. So you might actually not want to res this card, even if you can afford it, and that starts you start making decisions, and that's really fun and cool. And we see that with cards like Ping, or cards like Border Control to some extent. It has a different, but you know what I mean? Like ice is more than just the sum of its parts, where we make an economic decision and saying res for 5, break for 3 with paperclip sounds bad. I haven't even had Harkarl, but I know that it's made from Greenland sharks and the relative sleeper sharks. Somniosidae. Cool. Yeah, I knew all this stuff too that we're seeing is going to be from, you know, the Arctic Circle. So we're seeing representation from like Russia and Greenland. I'm hoping for something that's quintessentially Canadian, but we'll see. They live a really long time. Oh, cool. Boomer hate is very welcome. Now, the cool thing about this is its ability. Its ability is very nuanced. So it says when you res this ice during a run against this server, and that's very specific. You can't do any sort of tricks to res this when someone's running a different server to prevent them from clicking through things. It just stops like really ambitious grid combo decks, I guess. That's fine. But basically, if someone's running this, and when you res it, you can de-res another installed card. Now, you can de-res anything as long as it can be de-resed. So that means there's actually a lot of things that are very cheap or easy and even beneficial in some cases to de-res. Cards like Nico Campaign, you can de-res that, it keeps its credits on it, then you can re-res it, and as long as it's safe, it's going to last out even longer. Maybe that's not a good thing to do. With a Maryland campaign, maybe it's a bit better, but that's the thing you can do. You can de-res Spin Doctor, which is really sick because you might as well de-res it. You can re-res it. It's free and you get 2 more cards. That's actually quite powerful potentially. On top of that, cards that res or de-res for free have almost no cost besides the information cost. So right before someone approaches Harkarl, you can res your Rashida on the remote server, then res the Harkarl, then de-res the Rashida. So the Harkarl cost is not a real cost. Admittedly though, you need all these things to line up. You need the card to be de-resable at the same time someone's running on this, and the ability has to be relevant. And I don't think that's going to happen that often. There's a lot of things that have to line up for this to be a relevant ability. On top of that, you can also de-res ice. And so far, there's not that many things for that to be relevant. In the HB card pool, you do have a fair bit. You have Magnet, which is super cool. And in some matchups, de-resing, re-resing Magnet can be quite powerful. On top of that, you have Gatekeeper. And Gatekeeper is another really cool design ice, similar to this, where resing it matters. It's not just snap res it. Sometimes you want to keep it to be surprise 6 strength. Paul is saying in chat, Ping. Yeah, Ping is neat. But again, I can't see a deck that wants to have a Carl, but also wants to have a Ping in it. Like, yes, but also, I guess, right? I think Gatekeeper and Magnet are the easiest, but we'll see what else there is. There's definitely things that we're forgetting for sure. You can de-res another Harkarl if you don't care about how many credits you have. Yeah, you can de-res anything if you don't care about how many credits you have. But you're right, but the Harkarl could trigger the Harkarl to the Harkarl. Now, the thing is, like, if you have this in a deck where de-resing is actually like actively good for you, this seems really sick. Like, I don't know, if you're putting Harkarls in your Spark deck just so you can re-res your advertisements, I'd be surprised if that's the case. But a lot of people don't click through Bioroids. They really don't. Looking at that last game, we even could have considered it, but a lot of people don't click through Bioroids. So what the cool thing that Harkarl does is Harkarl protects itself from being able to be clicked through, which is the issue of like rushing behind a single Eli, is that they can always click through it. And generally you need 2 pieces of ice before your Bioroid server is like, you know, protected. And so in theory, as long as you can de-res something, your Harkarl can protect the Rashida the turn you put it out. Now, again, I don't know how relevant that's going to be. It's for the whole turn, which is really cool. But again, not a lot of people are running this and then running something else and then clicking through it. Like, to me, it seems a bit, it doesn't seem like all these things, like the ability has to be actively good for you to consider wanting to add this to your deck. Cause the subroutines are not incredibly relevant and the ability is a bit clumsy. Rhyme could be de-res at no cost. Yeah, it could. It definitely could, but it's clumsy and I don't like Rhyme. NGO is another cheap one for sure. I feel like it's not that rare to have Spin, Rashid, or NGO on the board in Standard. It's not, but then you need to have those at the time that someone's running the Harkarl, and then you're going to res them to show them that it's an NGO or Rashida, which is a huge loss of information. And then for this ability to be relevant, they have to have planned to click through a Bioroid at some point during that run. Like, that is condition on top of condition on top of condition. And like, if you compare that to like the ice that sees a lot of play in standard competitive Netrunner, it's just like, no, Gatekeeper is good. Hagen's just kind of good, right? Like, it's not, we're setting up this magical board state where everything lines up. Like, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And then at the end of the day, the price of this ice and the subroutines aren't things I'm excited to put in my deck. I still think I'd rather have Eli in my deck than this. Helps you set up Infinaganked? No, you can't click through Ansel. Yeah, that's the thing. This, in theory, it helps you set up Infinaganked, which is the reason actually excited about this card is that it stops them from clicking through the on-sell, which a lot of people do. They'll save a click left, but you can still do the cool boomerang tricks. You can still have more money, but you're right. The thing is that if you're worried about that and you see the Hakal res and they use the Hakal ability and there's like a bunch of upgrades in the remote server, maybe you just end the run right there, right? Am I alone in reading this name as Hakari? I don't think you're alone, but it's definitely Hakarl because Hakarl is an Icelandic fish. Seems like it's built for Architects of Tomorrow. I guess. Yeah, no, definitely. You know, you're totally right because the cost of de-resing your ice in Architects of Tomorrow is not that big of a deal. When you can re-res it for, you know, free or generally next to free. So that's not a big deal. But the thing, again, through Architects of Tomorrow, I just don't know how often people are clicking through ice. Like people have boomerang, people have botulus. Like it's not that difficult. And this might be another thing that we just have to like watch out because Nisei wants to lower the power cost of ice generally. So like a lot of the ice that we saw in startup or system gateway, excuse me, wasn't that exciting compared to what's available. But maybe in like a year or two, Hakarl will exist and Eli won't. And we'll be like, oh, 5 for 4 is fine. But right now, there's going to be like this uncomfortable transition potentially. Potentially. No, I read as Sakari's myself. How much better is it that worked more like next activation so Boomerang can break it? Oh, it'd be quite good. It'd be very, very, very powerful if it just said like the same text as next activation that says you can't use non-icebreakers to interact with Bioroids or whatever the text on Hakarl exactly is. I see this for setting a lot of campaigns. I don't exactly, and I'm not even sure in which decks for setting campaigns is like that attractive. That you'd want to res of 5 strength ice that ends the run, right? Like that is a lot. And for 5 strength, you're close down Cellar. You're like close to Brawn, which I would rather res as a barrier than that, right? Is Surat City Grid still in the game? It is. You can de-res a pop-up or other 0-cost card and re-res it to get Surat discount twice. You can. And that sort of combo deck, like, I'm just, like, you totally can do that. It's just, I don't understand what you're getting from that combo deck by adding the ability to not be able to click through Bioroids, right? Like, that's a bit, something on top of something on top of something. Comparing that with paperclip costs feels rough. Yeah, at the moment. Exactly. I feel like the most value you're going to get through this is reloading an asset or resing advanced assembly lines twice. Yeah, exactly. And that's the sort of thing you need is like you need to be able to hit Spin Doctor twice or advanced assembly lines to make more money. Like that's kind of cool. But none of those decks really, to me, want to brain damage end the run that costs you 5 currently. That's the way I see it, at least. But this card is really cool and really interesting. I wonder if we're going to see more brain damage support where this sort of like incidental brain damage actually does matter a bit more. Anywho, that's one of them. So there's going to be 7 cards, if I'm not mistaken, in the Midnight Sun booster pack. We've seen so far 3 of them. We've seen the NBN. We've seen now the HB one. We've seen the Shaper one. And we have the Criminal one. And that's a Revolver. Make criminals about crime again. It is an icebreaker with a killer subtype. Just kidding. I mean, the weapon killer subtype. It's the weapon subtype. It's just funny because it says killer. 2 credits, 1 MU. And it says when you install this program, place 6 power counters on it. Them cowards were not willing to make bullet counters a type in this game. So be it. It's 1 strength. Interface. Trash this or spend a bullet counter to break a sentry subroutine. 2 credits for +3 strength and some really fun ice. Really fun art. Hold on. Nisei was listening. I know. I've always been saying this. Like, give criminals things that make them feel like they're criminals, not just like blue computer. And I love that this is a gun. That's really cool. There's one gun that exists previously, the unregistered S&W. And it's not great, but like I love that theme from Criminals. It's a good bit better than Cujo. Okay, so Cujo was the dog. The dogs are guns. Guns are dogs. For Gabe's neutral special, he installs a gun. There's actually like an alternative Gabe where he is standing in a lobby cleaning blood off of a revolver. It's a bit grim. You spend the bullets, then you throw the gun. Do y'all know that clip from, I'm pretty sure it's Snatch, where they're talking about the weight of a revolver and you're like, weight is good. If it doesn't work, you just throw it at him or you hit him with it. It's I think it's some Russian arms dealer or something. It's really funny. So this reminds me of so much of the cool old design space of Criminals where they could deal really cheaply, hopefully, with some of the sentries. And we're looking at things like Fairy that were, transient. It's like, you broke it for cheap. Cool. So you can put this down for 2 credits and just start running and not have to spend a lot of money. 2 for 3 strength is pretty good. 1 strength is not very good, but then you're breaking for basically nothing else than the cost of the bullets itself. And you get 6.5, technically 7 bullets, by definition not, but technically 7 bullets. So you can break 7 sentry subroutines. Now, when it comes to this does entirely come down to, is this better or more efficient than breaking stuff normally with whatever the breaker du jour is right now? And I'm not actually sure what the breaker du jour right now is. I imagine it's Bagalter. And Bagalter is probably actually comparable to this in cost. You get through all the low strength stuff for 2 credits. You get through all the high strength stuff like Anansi. You can get through 2 Anansis for 4 credits a pop. That's pretty good. That's honestly really quite good. The fact that you can install this for 2 credits and face tank Anansis for 4, that's quite good. I like it. I think it's fun, and I think there's some decks like classically Geist decks back in the day, and maybe some Az decks modernly, something with Simulchip that can recur this. I think you are going to need recursion if you want to use this as your cheap breaker with Simulchips, and Az can get an engine there going for sure. I think we are not going to have Tech Trader anymore, which is a beautiful card with this and Simulchips. So I want to see if we have anybody else that can use that sort of transient package, whether it's like Khan, but I don't think it's really hard to print cards that will make Khan good without them being better somewhere else still. Boris, yes. Is it Boris the Blade? Snatch is a fun movie. I haven't seen it since I was a teenager, but I owned it on DVD. I liked it that much. I love that throwing the gun when you run out of ammo is precisely as effective as shooting a bullet. It's a heavy thing. Are those other ice abilities that last for a whole turn like Carl's? Are there other ice abilities? I think the only other ice ability that lasts for a whole turn might be Corporate Troubleshooter, but I'd have to double check. There might be some weird stuff that people don't play. Okay, cool, but this still just a blue computer program. Give Az a gun. This is a gun. I see what you mean. It's not actually a gun. Give Az a gun. I agree with you, though. Yes. I like the design encourages you to run multiples. I think that's pretty hard to do with icebreakers. Yeah, no, we had this before. And the idea that some decks, and they're decks that generally need some sort of recursion for this to be sustainable. Like we played Shaper decks back in the day that played Lady, and Lady was a very similar design to this. It was a dog that had power counters on it. I don't know what the theme is. And then those power counters were used to very cheaply break barriers. And classically, barriers were the thing that Shapers actually struggled with, which is a really weird thing to have that to be a Shaper card. It was very good at breaking barriers. And then people just played, you know, like regular normal breakers for Kogate and Sentry, and then just kept recurring their Lady over and over again. And you could do that. I don't know whether it's worth it. That's the issue with this card. It's 3 influence, which is a lot, but I feel like the amount of effort you need to recur this over and over again with the current tools we have, at least, are probably not worth the pain, as opposed to just like playing a Bagalter and being like, yeah, Bagalter's still pretty good. So I think it's going to need some support. I think you're going to have a deck. Maybe this is a splash into Shaper, who I don't think have a very obviously best killer. And it's maybe even perfect for decks that like don't run a lot because they're apocalypsing or deep diving, stuff like that. Does trash or hosted power counter count as trash ability for the back? Yeah, it does. Yeah, you use a trash can ability. You're good. I think Crim decks are going to run 3 revolvers and no other sentry breaking ability. I don't think so. I think most Crim decks would probably still stick to the Bagalter package. But I think certain decks that can use this will, but they have to be able to use it well. Because I'm not sure the math works out that this is on average better on everything to Bagalter versus the kind of everything else you have to, and the slots you need for more of them. Seems like a decent replacement for Mongoose. Man, I haven't heard that name in a long time around these parts, but Mongoose is a pretty good card still. Trashing once it's empty is also good for MU. You can also sell it. Like, you could pawn it if you don't want it to shoot it. Excalibur? Oh, yeah, Excalibur is the whole turn. Yeah, you're right. Lady was too beautiful for this world. Oh, that's the one that makes it so you can't access cards for the rest of the turn? A troubleshooter, if I'm not mistaken, says you boost the strength of all ice for the end of the turn? Sir, we tried to install ice, but they just shot the server. Because his Lady was dumb in Shaper. Lady was wild in Shaper. It definitely goofed some stuff up for sure. It was weird because Shaper for a while had the best Fractor, and then for a while they even had the best killer when Nanotech was like the hotness. The one that was worded poorly and made it. Oh no, Lunilla, you're thinking of shit. The Eye. What is the name of that eye that says you cannot access additional cards for the rest of your Netrunner career? Sync BRE, right? I think. Yeah, Big Red Eye. It's not a trash can ability. It's trash can or hosted power counter. Every single card that lets you do either of them had on 2 separate abilities that did the same thing. Oh, I'm assuming because it's an aura, it will still count. But I think it'll only count when you're using the trash. Like, I think if you're shooting, I don't think you're going to get back counters. Day 30 of Sync PRE watch. Yeah, yo, Alec, those were the days. First time each turn you use hardware during a run, place a power counter. Okay, so not that part. Shuffle up to X cards with trash abilities. I would assume it is, but we'd have to wait for Nisei to confirm. You could tweet at them and ask immediately. Maybe they'll get back to you, but I'd be surprised if it wasn't the case. Because this is a really fun card with the back too. It does give you that sort of like built-in recursion without having to spend influence on everything else. Sai Lady Nano. Yeah, yo, Shapers, what do? We break things well. Okay, good luck everyone. Might make sense as the breaker in those as decks that are Geist with extra steps. Yeah, no, exactly, Gwen. I think that's the idea. Is those sort of like heavy install setup decks, the prognostic Q loop decks. So it's like, oh, I'm installing my revolver off the top of my deck on your turn with my DZMZ and all that fun stuff. They really should have had to pay influence for Lady. I think they did at some point. When I played Lady, put Kate over the top. Didn't Lady end up with like generic influence, or am I misremembering? But yeah, Lady obviously was like a problem. It got restricted. I mean, I am going to use this because as previously stated, give as a gun. This is a hill I will die on. I'm really hoping, and this is like, I'm pretty sure we're going to see more weapon subtypes. And we've actually technically seen a fair bit of weapon subtypes, unweapon subtyped in Criminal. Let's take some time to try and figure out what all the criminal weapon breakers are. We had Garrote, that's technically a weapon. You've had Ninja, which is technically a shuriken in the old art. That's a weapon. And a file. Now, there must be more. I'm pretty sure Femme Fatale kills something. Shiv, yeah, okay, Shiv, Shank, Sharp, Switchblade, hold on. Okay, wait, there's a lot. Dagger, no, that's not criminal. But there was another one. I'm pretty sure After Image is a weapon. Okay, I should keep it a bit more strict. Candlestick, Lead Pipe, Poison. Errata for weapons. I really hope so. Silencer? Yeah, technically, I guess. Crowbar? Yeah, legit. We need more bomb. Yeah, we're only on one bomb. It's a shame. Maybe a blackjack to knock out D-res after you break? What was the name of the giant 11 cost console? It was black something, right? Unregistered SMW is literally the only other card that actually has a weapon subtype. Yo, yeah, that I know. I'm just saying, like, the criminals technically have a lot of weapon subtype stuff. Blackguard, yeah, that Blackguard. Blackguard is such a fun card. Is Flashbang considered a weapon? Strictly no, but we'll give this one to you, Solmir. Yeah, sure, why not? Yeah, so that's cool. Anyways, I'm really stoked for that. I really want to see what the criminal looks like if they're showing up with a revolver. That's a really short revolver. I'm not a gun person, but then I got into VR and then I was spending a lot of time playing Hot Dogs, Horseshoes, and Hand Grenades, which is made by like one guy. And it's very silly because it's all about hot dogs. But I'm just kind of playing with guns. And so now I'm becoming like somebody who knows things about guns, which is like a hard thing to talk about and sound like you don't have problems. But maybe that's because I'm in Canada. Ninja was named Ninja, but it was just a giant throwing star. Yeah. Have you seen the old Ninja art? I think it's more obvious. Or maybe actually less obvious, but Ninja, Netrunner. Because Ninja, actually, they changed the art. Yeah, this is the old art. It was like some sort of shuriken kind of glaive looking thing. I don't think this would ever was printed with this art, right? That's wild art. It's a very short barrel. Bullets need the length of a barrel to spin. Yeah, I think it's like, it's kind of looking like a Derringer style, but it's a bit longer than that. The template deep dive looks like, yo, he's Sengrin. It really does. It really does good. 5 influence, like, wow. Wow. That's a lot. But that's really fun. I wonder too, like, so we saw this with System Gateway, and I don't know whether we're going to stick to that sort of theme. Like, are we going to get a lot of underwater cards in Shaper? Does that mean maybe this Shaper runner is going to have to do something with diving and some nautical themes on the Arctic Ocean? Does that mean that we're going to see more Northern European fish dishes? Does that mean we're going to see more guns? I don't know. It's going to be cool. Target shooting up on the farm is super fun. Yo, I've never fired a gun, but at one point I reckon we'll get there. Oh, I've been corrupted by the internet. Me going through a Counter-Strike phase. Actually, guns do seem pretty fun to fire. That was the thing about firearms to me. And like, I know a lot of people have different opinions about firearms, but like, I think, I wouldn't say my obsession, but my wanting to fire a gun is that I've consumed to date so much media in which firing guns has been relevant. I've been playing video games since I was a kid, and yet I don't know what that's like. And I wonder if firing a gun is gonna like totally taint my experience. Be like, whoa, that is incredibly something we should not have around here. Fish tribal, yes. So we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get to. I think it's something I can do in Quebec. Their guns exist here. Fish ice. CH, hey there, Andre. Got back to Netrunner recently with Nisei after a long hiatus. Looking forward to getting some Nisei startup and gateway games in. Yo, CH, how's it going? We played, unfortunately, in some ways, a bit of startup tonight, but it's a really, really great format. I'm excited for the new cards to come out, which is also very interesting for startup because the booster set should be startup legal, he asks authoritatively, but with a question mark. Looks one of those teensy revolvers that a 1920s flapper would have in her purse. Yeah, straight up Poirot Nova. That's a Derringer, right? Fish tribal coming. Deep Dive has to indicate that there are click gaining effects in Midnight Sun. Yep, they actually confirmed, Nichan, that there will be specifically a cybernetics that will give you additional clicks. We even have a clay launcher for the 12 gauge. Ooh. What was the NBN location? In Siberia? Yes. It was it's meant to be like the I wouldn't say the capital, but the pride of Siberia if I remember the flavor article. Again, y'all want to get some of these, you just have to follow them. Did anyone win the boomerang in chat? Oh, also huge. There's links to all the artists. Again, we shout out to Kizra. Belixa has done a bunch of art for Netrunner through the past, if I'm not mistaken. That is a name you'll see on a lot of stuff. And then that's Kira. And then the Maker's Eye is Yakuza. There's a lot of lovely stuff. If you follow any of these links, give these artists some love. I'm really excited to see all the art. I wonder if the booster is startup legal. I'm not actually sure. Cocottes, after firing a gun, you have to wish to join the army. No, I don't think it's going to go like that. How's it going? Netrunner reaching its natural conclusion as a Northern European fermented fish delicacy simulator. Give the people what they want. I have fired a gun many a time and have absolutely no desire to join the army, thanks. Yeah, I don't think it's that easy. Very random question. I know this is a stretch, but do you think Nisei would ever release a mini faction of their own? Yeah, almost definitely. Almost definitely. I would be surprised if they didn't at some point. I feel like Nisei wants to like get their footing first and like pivot the game to the sort of, they have their own like, you know, design ethos, which is obviously a bit different than FFG. And we've seen that being talked about. And I think we're going to see a set or two before where they like really kind of nail their stride. Because if you ask me, like things have been good, but it really does seem like they're getting into the groove and they're figuring their stuff out. I keep skiing as if that is the accurate verb. But I think at some point they will. I feel like we read an article that they've said that they'll have their own some faction or other, or a neutral faction or something. Didn't they say that? I'm pretty sure they said the new set has a neutral faction. Maybe I'm making that up. Yo, Gorek, I really want the Hakarl art and a playmat. Yo, you and me both. I'm from Novosibirsk. Vladisibirsk makes no sense because Vladivostok is nowhere close to Siberia. I'm from, hold on, Artem, really? I'm from Novosibirsk. I think they said specifically, Artem, that they just picked like the words with like the Slavic, the Russian root to make a compound word. I don't think it's actually meant to be a megacity, but that's really cool. You're getting a standard legal. We are getting standard legal neutral IDs. Okay, so that's what we read. There's going to be neutral IDs. Okay, so everyone has done their homework more than I did. Neutral corporate runner. Okay, the corp should also get a mini faction. Yeah, it's like harder in the like the lore of, you know, late stage capitalism, whatever Netrunner world. That is a bit more difficult to imagine, like a corp mini faction, because the corporations inherently are meant to be, you know, globally mega powerful. And I reckon there's a lot of also like kind of buying out and conglomeration, or my words elude me, but I don't see that. It seems like a bit of a stretch, but maybe possibility. That is the capital of Siberia. Oh, okay. I don't want to pressure them because I know the admin I send. Corp mini faction is just telling them what agendas they can run. Huh. I'm really lucky with response times when adding the Nisei sets. Yeah, and Nisei is working, I think, from my understanding, more in stride with JNet than ever before. So I am assuming the day that this stuff hits release, it's going to show up on JNet. But again, don't quote me. I'm not part of the JNet team. Funny talking about delicacies, and my nickname is Chef. I said CH3F. I don't. Has anyone played the solo mode from vanilla? Looking forward to Nisei faction. Would it be a runner corp though? I assume we would see a runner mini faction sooner than corp. Solo mode from vanilla. I don't know what that means, Jeff. I can't believe I did not read lead speak properly. There's NAPD as a corp mini faction? I guess so. Maybe I'm not just like inventive enough that I can't figure it out. But okay. Yeah, maybe we could do it. Okay. It's 10. I didn't really know what we were gonna play today. So I thought maybe we could do like a horizontal NBN kind of trap deck in Near Earth Hub. This is something I feel like we've done before, and I feel like we just need some sort of like Amusements and get some sort of tag kind of brew going on. The logs, what's Meteor? Oh, there's a conversation about Meteor. So Meteor is, how's it going by the way? If you go to what's under StimHack that Meteor? Meteor is a website, meteor.stimhack. That is it's an alternate to like deck building stuff. This used to be more popular back in the day, like a really long time ago. It used to be owned by Chris, who used to be making a lot of content for Netrunner, and it was bought by StimHack. And this is basically another way that you can build decks online. A lot of people use Meteor specifically because it has a good draft functionality, so that you can go in here and you can host drafts and you can invite people and it does the drafting for you. It's super useful for that. I actually was pretty stunned by how good the draft functionality is there. This was used for the Rain City Draft League, which we held the finals, was hosted here on the channel if you want to watch some draft stuff. But it has a bunch of cubes too, and I know Ixaron specifically in chat is making their own cubes, so they try to get them on here. So the question is also like, when new cards come out, how soon will they be on Meteor? So how soon can you add them to your cube? So it's really cool. Yeah, Parallel says I can attest how great the online draft functionality. Yeah, Parallel was running the draft there. Yeah, it's really quite good. There's a fan-made solo variant of Netrunner using a vanilla core set. Had both a corp and runner deck that you played against? Huh. So I remember, and I don't think I still have the pieces, but I do remember, and this, mind you, was probably like 6 years ago or something. With the original core set, somebody made a single player alternate solo format to Netrunner, and it involved like these little Scrabble tiles that you flipped over, and it spelled some sort of keyword, but each letter that you flipped over had some effect where the AI for the corp would do something based off of like what the letter showed up. I barely remember playing that. I think it was posted on like a BGG thread or something like that, or a StimHack thread. I don't know. Does anybody have any inkling of this, or am I a bit too old? But this is something I definitely remember playing. I remember making little cardboard kind of like Scrabble tiles to flip over and be like, oh, it's an R. That means they're going to ice. And you just draw off the top of their ice deck and slap it down. It was interesting. Just turned 30 at the end of last month. Is there a firearms conversation going on? No, there's no ganked Thanos. There's no ganked. Don't ask me how I know, but Vladisibirsk is already implemented in JNet, just not actually available. Cards? I wonder how many people, because I have no doubt. Damn it. I have no doubt that there's some people that are already testing stuff online, and they'll just, they'll just, what's it called? Proxy them. I can't find it. How do you know? I always love a good draft, so check it out. It's really good, Locks. Hosting draft Monday if anyone's interest. Ixern says. I saw that one. It's a different one at BGG. Oh, you did see that one, so that's real. Just need some more suggestions on what sort of prize support people would like. You're not old. I'm 41. My body lets me know I'm not going anywhere every single day. Oh, I'll get there. I'll get there. Don't worry. We're all just behind you sometime. Somewhere in front. Try and add it to your deck. All right, so this is where we figure out that I do not know how to spell Vladisibirsk. No, I can't. I can't do it. If I go to casual? No. If I write Vladisibirsk, Vladisibirsk grid? No, I don't think so. Unless I'm spelling it terribly. We can tempt an orbital superiority kill. Oh man, Vladisibirsk is like impossible you could do it. I told you not to ask, but if you Google Vladisibirsk and you can see a GitHub commit comments. Oh, okay. Yeah, so it's probably not live. That makes sense. When they previewed Swift, it was available? I was playing Lord of the Rings LCG solo just 15 minutes ago, and I was thinking while playing, why do I keep saying DJ influence in your streams and leave and feel happy? Yo, how's it going? Max? This is McCougan, huh? DJ Influence in the house. Yo, I actually tried Lord of the Rings LCG just last weekend. We picked up the core set. It's the first time I tried it, and we got the rules wrong. I feel like it's a bit clunky. It's an old design. It's like 12 years old now, but we had a good time. We're gonna do it again for sure. I'm also 30 plus 4 months. You have to be 30 plus at least 3 months to be able to possess a bazooka. What? Oh, it's going great. Yo, how you doing? DJ Influence is in the house. Ah, that tracks. Ah, the Japanese name. All right, right on. Wait, you have to be 30 to buy a bazooka? Are you serious? What is America? How can you buy a bazooka? Okay, hold on. Okay, let's do something. Let's build a deck. It's hailing outside. Don't read the nonsense. I'm from Australia, looking forward to learning Jinteki and trying a Virus Runner and Gaming Corp deck. Oh man, the Gaming Corp deck is a deck that I totally forget exists. And I'm just not, it's not my play style. But yeah, the whole theme of Gaming Corp is definitely in there if you want to play with it. All right, let's go horizontal and build a trap deck unless someone has a better idea. Okay. Oh, it's like actually hailing quite hard. It's a really good game, different than Arkham Horror, but in my case better. It's a much more deck building based than a Arkham Horror. It's like a puzzle game. Each scenario is a puzzle to solve through deck building. I've actually heard that before, that it's more so that you play the scenario, you get your ass kicked, and scenarios are shorter. It's not like a whole campaign, right? And then you have to build around that and solve that puzzle. And I don't know like how obvious that's going to be because we have, just like the full playset of the core set. And we've only done the first one so far, but it does seem quite cool. Bye bye. I love you. Thanks for dropping by. Enjoy your Arkham, not Arkham, your Lord of the Rings. All right. Long gun with glass kind of girl. I don't even know what that means. Okay. So, basic idea. Put stuff on the table, kind of like a personal evolution trap deck, except we can't play Sting. And the idea is that some things that they hit can be quite bad for them. Now, this is where I greatly miss TGTBT, and I'm going to probably miss any way that prevents people from clearing tags. That is potentially quite good. I'm worried also that we're going to like very quickly end up into hard-hitting news territory, which is like pretty simple. Will this trap deck be using the gateway only stuff? No, we have to go a bit wider than gateway only, just because gateway only, I don't think we have enough traps, but we'll see. You can always like look at the deck list and then kind of see what it would take to make it into that. Andre, would you ever try reboot plus jumpstart on stream? Seabass, I think we have before, and I never remember the names of the different formats, but like the big boy format that has like the cards that are slightly modified is really appealing to me. I would probably play at some point. Diogene says AL and NEH. AL and NEH is quite okay. A lot of times that sort of archetype was called a Russian archetype. That was a fast events deck that goes horizontal. But we want to more do traps than I think want to do like sort of efficiency tempo based plays. News team actually could be a possibility. We'll kind of look at our agenda suite and see if it does have a meaningful impact on how many agendas it takes for them to win. Okay, so we're going to play a lot of agendas, and hopefully we're going to punish them for hitting the wrong thing at the wrong time. So we're looking at things like Price X, Snare, Amaze Amusements. So some smaller agendas are quite good. Double advancing a fly on the wall. I'm wondering even if it's worth like double advancing. Is Ghost Branch even a card anymore? There's a reboot league going on in GLC. That's a lot of fun. Oh, I didn't know. That's actually quite cool. Full tag storm. The issue is like full tag storm really doesn't mean anything because as soon as you go full tags, they just die to boom, right? Like, so that's kind of the issue is like trying to make a tag deck where the end game clearly isn't just like, boom or the other thing. Well, Wayne, how's it going? Warrior Tracker? Warrior Tracker is like, I don't think the perfect card because we want cards that we just put like horizontal. Like we just want to install 3 cards a turn and Warrior Tracker just needs a bit of more support. And I don't know whether trash 2 of their installed cards is going to matter. We'll see. If you want to go amusements, you could go a Tag Me deck with Project Beal and Psychographics. I feel like Psychographics is definitely going to be our win con, and we're going to keep 1 or 2 Beals just to make sure that we can close the game if we don't meet damage to them. Recently stumbled upon this channel. I love your content. Thank you for what you do, Rockman. That's very kind. Thank you. I appreciate the comment. If I can ask you, how do you stumble upon this channel? Because I have no idea what we do a very bad job with discoverability. I'd love to know where that happens. You're going to put in the Wayland one that deals meat, the just taking that damage one, and then you're going to pivot into ganked? Hold on. We could play ganked. All right, we'll get some ARs down. There's a chance that we're gonna have to end up playing Bologna just on the basis that it's a very good defensive agenda and it takes up a lot of agenda points for little slots, if you know what I mean. Otherwise, tomorrow's headline is fantastic. I don't think anybody plays around this because it's very hard to. Otherwise, we would love really, really small stuff. QPM is like kind of there, but it's really awkward. They'd have to hit the price sec and then the quantum predictive model, which is a possibility. If they hit this in the right order, it's just kind of free points for us. We can try it, but I don't know how easily this is going to be. We'll probably end up playing for better or worse fun houses too. Thank you so much for doing what you do. Your insight and explanations make it so easy to follow as a newish player returning to Netrunner. I like the idea of the traps you advance. Hey, cheers, chef. I'm glad you're liking it. Again, if there's anything that we're not explaining, do definitely ask. I stumbled upon it after looking into Netrunner, and your Nisei card reviews are near the top of search recommendations. Paul, can I ask what part of the world you are? You don't have to be like very accurate, but like I wonder if the also if the algorithm is based on location. License acquisition is a possibility, and if we do license acquisition, we could go on like a lot of agendas and then also consider playing the sort of news team package. We just need something good with the license acquisition, and I feel like, you know, maybe just having a science center 2 could be good enough. Maybe it could be good enough. Someone posted your 7 tips to the green level clearance Discord. Ah, someone's doing my marketing. Okay, North America, yeah, that tracks. Haha. Very well done, whoever is in green level clearance. Thank you, Rockman. I appreciate it. Okay, from this point on, I don't know what we're going to do for our last agenda points. A Beal will get us mostly there, and then we could maybe consider putting in a single Bologna, and then that'll be like our, oh, hold your breath when they access R&D. Maybe a fly on the wall headline GFI EOI. The thing is, like, I'm not excited to play exchange of information unless we have like a considerable amount of 5/3s, right? And maybe that's why we should actually play 2 Bolognas, because exchange of information is a very, you know, powerful win condition. It's a card that says if the runner is tagged, swap one of your agendas scored with one of their agendas stolen, so that you trade a 1 for a 3. But if you only have 1s and 2s, it's really not often worth it. So we'd have to like swing more into the Bolognas. We could also play Global Food Initiative if we wanted to, and that would actually mean they would have to steal more agendas. Okay. So we'll cut the license acquisitions. That gets us some slots back. So there you go. 13 agendas. It's a lot, but we'll see where we go from here. So we're going to want some traps. We're going to definitely need our money up because some of the traps are trace based. I don't know whether we're going to do a full force connection or not. Spent the majority of my day listening to your fundamentals breakdown today during work. Very easy to follow. Ah, well, good tips. Thank you, Rockman. Maybe run Giordano as a defensive upgrade? That's an interesting idea. I'm also big into board games, so it kind of makes sense that your vid showed up when looking for Netrunner. Ah. I am picking up as a little present on Friday Too Many Bones, the core set. And I'm going to tell you, I don't know what y'all know about Too Many Bones. I think it looks quite ugly, and I'm not happy about that, but I'm really excited. And I'll tell you, the thing that made me decide to buy Too Many Bones, and if you're designing a board game, please make your boxes fit on the Calyx shelf, because apparently they reprinted the game and now the box is smaller and it will actually fit on the Calyx shelf. So you get yourself a sale. We'll do some DBSs. Janktivist loves How's It Going Unstoppable. Too Many Bones. That's all I know about it. Okay. All right. I don't think Vegas casinos will let you cash TMB in there. If you're interested, they are reskinning TMB into Skyrim this year. Wait, what? Cactus, how's it going? What are you talking about? Vegas casinos will let you cash Too Many Bones? Highly recommend Radlands, not deck building. I own Radlands, yeah, Paul. I actually have like the really nice plasticky version. Radlands slaps. I also will remind you, I have not lost a game of Radlands yet. We're 7 games in. Actually, no, I think I'm like 10 games in. I'll lose eventually. It's only a matter of time. Okay, we'll consider the news teams, actually. They're fun. Imagine people are always going to take the negative points, which should actually help us. Reverse accounts is okay if we start doing like advanced stuff. CU is actually quite relevant. I just don't know what our single tag punishment is going to be, but I think it has to be quite strong. I'm just hoping that like we can jam enough stuff on the table that they're actually scared of things. Otherwise, tiered subscription is like honestly okay. I'm not like incredibly excited about it. And then there's some really bad stuff like Watch Dogs. Okay. I feel like we need more traps though. They're going to Kickstarter Too Many Bones as Elder Scrolls Online this year. Like they're going to retheme it as Elder Scrolls. That's wild. Giles has got an email about Soulforge Fusion. No idea what it is, but it looks pretty lazy naming a generic MTG style art. I think Soulforge Fusion is a Richard Garfield game, but I might be wrong, Giles. Undertow was fun enough, but not sure I'd bother playing the rest. I was told Undertow is actually the best place entry point. Oh, actually, huge question. For those who've bought Radlands, and I mean probably specifically for those who have the plasticky, like, deluxe Kickstarter version of Radlands, when you opened your product, did it smell a lot like cherries? Because every of the 2 copies of Radlands that I have opened have smelled incredibly strongly like cherry candy, to the point that I can't tell if that is just a result of the production phase or that is an intentional smell campaign. Sads, I watched the whole NPI video today on Too Many Bones. Stock buyback, I think, is a good idea. But I don't know, does even like the normal Radland smell like cherry? Because they're onto something. Let me tell you, it's quite pleasant. Baker's Group probably won't stick. We're probably gonna have to play Snare. We really need good single, like this sort of deck had really strong single bet tag punishment back in the day when we had closed accounts. I'm not sure what we're actually gonna do. Not that I recall, but I really would not complain. I love cherry smell. It's quite pleasant, even when it's very like saccharine and fake. Or synthetic. I mean, you could play smell campaign in this. Corporate Town. Okay. What else we got? We have to like really surprise. We're gonna have to need things like Mumbed Virtual Tour, I reckon. We're gonna need a lot of upgrades. I think that's for sure. If your turn begins, wall to wall is honestly abstractly powerful. The board is quite exciting considering our agenda suite. It's just like hard to have a point on the table this matters. It also looks like a GLC bot has been posting links whenever you upload and comment on your Reddit NRDB links and comment on your deck list of the week. I don't know what you mean by the comment here never DB deck list of the week, but I think the green clearance bot like will always just support like Netrunner content creators. It's not something I set up, but that's really cool. Wait, they do smell cherry like? You actually smelled your cards? I'm telling you, it's real. I'm not just, it's not a goof. They distinctively have a cherry smell. Mine was like overwhelmingly strong. I wonder what that is. Okay, this is not doing it for me. Okay, ice. We're gonna need some ice just so we don't lose off centrals. Seamless launch seems like we want to punish for not running our traps that are actually agendas. Oh, I kind of like that. I do kind of like that. Seamless launch makes, I think, us, whoa. Actually, Gregory, what about if we do like seamless launch and we actually play fly on the wall so that we can do fly on the wall into we need more traps that if they hit, they actually hit bad, that they feel bad. Like we can do fly on the wall to exchange of information. I wish we had closed accounts, right? Like imagine doing seamless fly on the wall to closed accounts. That seems potentially something. So we're going to drop these. We'll do fly on the wall. We already have the ability to do it tomorrow's headline. I'm worried that our influence spend is going to get pretty fast, pretty soon. Let's spend some influence already. In theory, Drafter's also... Oh, no, Drafter doesn't return operations anymore. The board just means the runner pays 7 credits to win on 5 points. Yeah, largely. Unless we can install on top of it. Diogene, I'm not into reversed accounts because we're not actually going to be install advancing. We're just going to be installing. We want like traps that fire with nothing on them. If we were doing more like the Mushin no Shin advance, yeah, I think so. No Urtica, no, because I don't think the damage is going to matter. We're going to try and win off the tag being relevant. Snare is just a card that does give a tag, as well as a opportunity for them to flatline. But I don't think we just want to do like damage for the sake of it. Because it's when we do like a boom 7 meat damage, it doesn't really matter. Closed accounts rotated, yeah. Jeeves is actually probably worth considering, so maybe we'll end up with some Eli's. I think Jeeves is probably really good in what we're trying to do here. Yeah, 31 cards, so we'll get there. So we need to find more HB stuff. How long until we give a ganked in here? It's not happening, I promised you. Psycho, yeah, we'll get to the operations, I think so. Price Tech, we'll get to that upgrades as well. We're just going to get the ice first. But yeah, those are all very, very, very relevant. Okay, Archangel Authenticator. Kind of into it. It's technically an end the run. If they take the tag, hopefully that's good for us. I'm going to try it. It's not fantastic, but we'll try it. I feel like we're okay with pop-up windows just because our money is probably going to be comparable to most personal evolution decks. I'm not going to play free lunch. It's just so annoying. Funhouse would be really good. I just worried that we can't afford it. So we'll put 2 in and call it a day. IP block is probably worth playing. just because it does give tags. And then we'll maybe do 3 pop-up windows. Oh, we do pings. We probably do pings over the IP blocks, honestly. Is there a sentry we could play? We probably have way too much ice, actually. Maybe we don't play Authenticator. GFIs are recode if we go that route. If we do Jeeves into Seamless. Market Forces is the fix for closed accounts. No, because Market Forces doesn't do enough, right? Like, Market Forces is not bad. But it's probably worth trying because it is still a 6 credit swing, which is obviously a lot. But like the idea with closed accounts is they went from like 19 credits to 0, and then you hard hitting use them. Like that's kind of what happens. Is like, oh, I tricked you and you took a tag last click, and now you lose the game. And this is just like, oh, ding. It's fine having the deck run way over 45 because so long as you can flood with assets, you'll get cards. Paul, I think as much as possible, you want to keep it to 49 cards. And largely it's just like, in theory, you're right? Like if you increase the amount of cards, you have card draw with NEH. But the idea is that at some point you're adding cards that are on making your average card value worse, right? So you probably are better off just paring your cards down. Retribution, it's a possibility. I just don't know why we'd be excited to retribute something. Public Trail? We're definitely going to play the other one. We're going to play Planogram. I feel like our ice is a bit bad, and I wish we just, like, maybe we just play Turnpike, because it's good. We're going to have to cut our ice, because we have too much ice for sure. Okay, Operation. We need money. We probably will just play Hedge Fund. Okay, other things, like, we're going to have to end up playing Hard-Hitting News. We're going to have to play, okay, first we have to play all our tag punishment, and then from there we'll go. So the All-Seeing Eye, play 1 because it's rude. Threat assessment actually is like worth considering. I just honestly don't know whether adding a card to the top of their stack matters. Tithe? Tithe is actually not the worst idea. Market Force is better than closed accounts when they only have 2 credits. Yeah, technically, Mushin, yes, yeah, for sure. Sync Rerouting is like a card that eventually gets cut from the deck. What else we got? Self-Growth, Salams, Public Trail. Probably not gonna can't afford to play that. We'll play a Psychographics or 2. Planogram 3 because it's sick. That is like relevant. Oh, that's not a current. Okay, I thought that was a current. Excuse me. Hard-Hitting News, that's the issues. Like, we have to play Hard-Hitting News, and as soon as we do, the rest of our deck falls apart. So I'm going to try and not play Hard-Hitting News for better or worse. So maybe we do play a single Public Trail. And then we'll play Exchange of Information on 2. No Maryland? Oh, actually, probably Maryland, yeah. Yeah, we have 2 Funhouse. Archer to sack 1 pointer for a fun surprise. I just don't think... It would be a fun surprise. I just don't know whether trashing programs is going to matter that much for our win condition. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to sprint. I'd rather do Maryland over it. But yeah, we definitely need to get that down. We have to add some HB cards. What else can we add? Like on Wayland? Is there any like really interesting tag punishment besides the one that trashes things? Stock buyback, I think, is a possibility. Retribution's the other possibility, but like... I don't know what we're retributing. Like, we'd want to retribute resources most of the time. Like, trashing the thing that clears tags clicklessly is the most important thing. Yeah, we're going to get to... Rongi, how's it going? We're going to get to 4 more HB cards. I think it's going to be Maryland. I don't like Nico, because Nico you have to ice up. RLC also has too much influence and doesn't do enough. Yeah, maybe even like Drafter, but I feel like we're going to do. This little card called Boom. No. You're thinking about Ganked again. Okay, other cards that give tags. Options, Overseer Matrix has too much influence. Don't encourage me. Force Connection, but this is probably quite expensive. Where's that key? So we'll do neutral because we have Price X. And I think we actually do want to do Mumbads just because I want them to be scared of interacting with our board. We're at 64 cards. Barely a problem. Not a problem. We'll do some Amazes. And now we have to refine the deck. Disposable HQ is okay. Ping? Yeah, we have the pings, yeah. No, don't gank me. Don't gank me. Okay. This is something I didn't realize about this card. Malia is actually probably worth playing over Maryland. While runner is accessing this card from R&D, when the runner accesses this card, remove 1 bad publicity unless they take a tag. Okay. If you don't have bad publicity, this doesn't do anything. Okay, cool. Never mind. I thought for a second it would be fine, but no, that's not very good, is it? So I don't think we do the San Luis route. Okay, what do things look like? So we need some HB assets. Let's just go quickly into here, sort by influence. Malia is good. We can do 2 Marylands and nailed it. Okay, 18 influence, not an issue. We can drop a snare. And that's good. Okay, so we have to cut, like, I don't know, a lot of cards. Ice Suite, Authenticator. They may take a tag to bypass it. Seems like that's just worse than Funhouse. Gonna hit the Funhouse button. Okay, so we're on 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 ice. We could probably cut 1 or 2 ice. Agenda Suite 13. We need Rashida. This deck seems like it's gonna be broke. Yes, it is. We honestly probably need some more assets that make money. Yeah. 1 exchange seems like plenty. I'm like so worried that we won't have the appropriate punishment in hand, but we have 1 exchange. We have All Seeing Eye. We have probably too many psychographics. And we have 3 planograms, so we probably are going to have enough. 3 Amaze is a lot. Yeah, planograms are quite good. Daily Business Show, Jeeves, Malia, Maryland, news teams. We probably ain't going to end up cutting the news teams, honestly. Probably going to cut out the CU too, because I don't think we can afford it. So we're getting there. Seems like really hard not to be CTM when you could just be CTM. Yeah, because I want to go a bit horizontal, but the problem with CTM is we only have 12 influence. Yeah, Doujin tiered subscription is like kind of the closest to it. It's not a really sexy card. It's like a 4 credit swing. It's not bad. It's okay because of Nerith Hub we're drawing, but like it's technically economy. The issue is though, a lot of times when you have tiered subscription, like people just don't run, which is not what we want to do. We want them to run because we're running like, you know, traps. Oh, this is gonna be bad, isn't it? Could you just run pads or Mumbad? Oh, Mumbad's actually probably really quite good. I forgot Mumbad's a card. Yeah, Mumbad is more money than anything else. We can't use it for or Mumba, excuse me. We can't use it for any of our holy shit, we have a lot of operations. 63 cards. Pad campaign. We also can cut an agenda. Solve that. Tier just good for NEH? It's okay. Yeah, it's a lot of agendas, but like that's kind of par for the course. So how many cards do we have to cut? We have to cut like 11 cards. Okay, so obviously 14 operations on 19 assets is going to be a problem. So we're going to cut the hedge funds. I guess. Are we? I guess we're going to cut the public trail. I would love something that robs them clicks because I want them to be clicked to tagged and then suddenly that's an issue. So maybe actually, oh, whoa, wait, can we still play? What's it called? What's it called still a thing? You know what I'm talking about? Is an easy pool of cards? Are viruses relevant? They're very, very quite relevant on both sides. The corps actually have some better antivirus cards than the runners might have. What's it called? False lead. That's what we need for this sort of deck. What's it called? Not ringing a bell. Oh, okay. False lead is what we want because now if they take a tag, we actually can force them to stick the tag. This is probably a very powerful card. 3rd Maryland? Yeah, maybe. We need to cut cards first. Okay, so now we can cut 3 cards. So maybe we cut a Fly on the Wall and an AR enhanced. Trail seems expensive. It is. And I hope now that we have false lead, we can have the trail stick, the tag stick a bit more easily. Okay, All Seeing Eye goes. We're on 61. We're getting there. 2 turnpike. We'll go down to 1 turnpike, I guess. It's turning to World's Gagarin a bit. Kind of. But that's fine. Like false lead ping, that's a brew. Like that's all we want to get down is false lead ping. And then we want exchange of information them. So maybe we actually just play 3 Bologna. Like we play 3 Bologna and then we have ways to kill. Oh man, with false lead snare, like I'd love to just play a single copy of, I guess there's nothing that can do it. But with 2 false leads, you can in theory kill a lot of times with the advanceable trap. Just 12 more cards to cut. I know. You think I don't know. Okay, Predictive Planogram is going to become our hedge fund. That's fine. We don't have enough money. Predictive Planogram is our hedge fund. Psychographics, Seamless Launch, Stock Buyback. These are good. Amaze Amusements, Mudbed, Virtual to a price sec. So we're going to cut the Amaze because we care about tags, not credit differential. We're getting there. Would Orbital not work? Orbital is okay, but Orbital is just like, it's a 2-pointer. It's very hard for us to score. It's just not very good. Like scoring a 4-2, generally our turn's going to be over. They just clear the tag. It's not very good. Is Reality 3D still a card? Yeah, it is. But the bad publicity is going to be an issue. We have I know we have Seamless, but like Seamless to score out that agenda, and then we have 1 tag left over. Like I feel like we'd rather just do with the 3-1. Orbital with Psycho would potentially work, but like you could just Beal to win the game generally if Psycho is a possibility. Yeah. Actually, in theory, if they're tagged with false lead, Orbital is really strong, but I think I'm scared of that. We're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting there. We actually could play maybe 54 cards. No, commit. Daily Business Show down 1. Malia down 1. We have an influence floating. 17 influence is a lot. I wish we had more traps. Oh, I wish we had more traps. I want them to be more scared of running. What's the old core set agenda that deals damage when they score if they're tagged? I don't know what that is. If all the traps encourage the runner to go tag me, maybe Orbital's not too bad. I feel like at that point we can just win off a Beal though if they're like super tagged and we have Psycho. Gotta play 54 cards for museum anyways. Yeah. Yeah. We'll cut it down one of those. We're on 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 ice, but we do have some card draw built in. I think we might cut the 2 temples. Like we don't have that much we can res. Like we can res the Marylands. We can res the Funhouse and Pop-Up's actually pretty good. Was there a trap that made us money? Yeah, but NGO's not really a trap. Like we want them to hit something that's never advanced and to be bad for them. But I know what you mean. Man, I hate man, the 40 card runner decks from System Gateway ruined me because I always build too big and then I struggle to pare down. Okay. I think we're gonna cut. Beal's more expensive than Orbital? No, it's much cheaper. Beal's a 3-2, right? Orbital's a 4-2. Oh, I think you're right. There was an old card. It was like if their tag takes 7, it's a Wayland agenda though. If they have 2 tags. I don't know what to do here. I think like we just have to start cutting like some of our fun stuff. Like we can't cut these these are a punishment. We could consider buyback. Meteor mining. Yeah, that's the Wayland one. I think you're right on the money there. We could probably cut an Amaze, but that seems like a very fun part of our deck. Okay, we'll cut the money. Private Security Force is a click to do damage. We're almost there. Okay, so we're just going to marry these 2 agendas down into a Bologna. So if we add a Bologna, we'll be on 23. Okay, we did it. We've done it. I think we have a deck. Let's see what it draws like. This is really quite good, right? Early turn, install Snare, draw a card, install Rashida, put the Turnpike in front of it, get the Rashida value, mandatory draw, off to the races, Daily Business Show, we have 300 credits. We install an Amaze Amusements and a Bologna. We really just need to get a false lead behind a ping like as soon as possible. Okay, I'm good to try this. I'm good enough to try this. False lead NEH. Nothing creative here. If someone can come up with a better name before we have to import it into deckly.net, you will be an internet hero forever. Ooh, we can't make any more decks. That's it. It's over. False lead. And now we're going to play against standard, and I'm going to forget how powerful the rest of the table is, and it's going to be really bad for us. Time for the upvote army. I'm good enough for this. Yeah, okay. Not Metro Ball Grid live. Well, I guess so. Any influence left for God is all things. An influence left for God. An influence left, excuse me, for God is all things should be. You do need to always leave a little tithe of influence there. It's good. It's like when you release, you know, the 4 pigs and you label them 1, 3, 4. And so they spend the whole day, the whole time, they're like, there's one influence unaccounted for. I'm gonna run into an Eli, I know it. And they're sweating it the whole time. Be like, I counted 3 times. It's 16. It doesn't make sense. Ping pong, that's not bad. Danica, what are you doing here? It's dinner time. Oh, she left. Okay, that's fine. If we're playing False Lead, we should just play hard-hitting Nude Boom. Yeah, and then we should probably just play like a Wayland Gagarin deck. And this is the issue, is that those sort of conversations end up being like, we should just play the best deck. No, but I know what you mean. Yes. It's no, I Can Sleep for Miles. I Can Sleep for Miles is really quite good. Oh, we had another one last time. We were thinking after, and I think I added it to the video itself. It was like Master, wait. Shit. But basically there was like a very easy Master Chief Slee, Master Chief Slee Hello Infinite or something that we were doing. I want to see if the lack of hedge fund will work. I'm assuming it will. Well, maybe. So hedge fund is an issue in 2 ways. Firstly, it's good to have hedge fund if there's an economic denial deck, which will be pretty poorly stacked against if they start diversioning of funds on us. But having money is important for 2 reasons. Firstly, doing things like scoring out, and that's probably going to be an issue. But secondly, it's going to be an issue to have their opponents scared of a credit differential, because they don't know that we don't have hard-hitting news. And if we have 9 credits and they have 2 credits, they won't run. So a lot of, back in the day, it's actually a lot of like near Earth hub decks that had more of their money offset admittedly into assets would actually not even play hedge fund. There's a large time that they wouldn't. And then they started playing hedge fund specifically when like Mining Accident was a very potent play on turn 1. And they wanted to make sure they had 5 credits to spend. So yeah, it's not uncommon to see it. Even in some near Earth hub decks, I think there's a reason not to play hedge fund. If you're like, if so much of your money can be on assets and you can go horizontal more than the runner can trash. But it's also those sort of decks where like, if they do clean up the board, the game is over and you have lost. So we'll see. This deck probably could use hedge fund though. 3 times dinner time for my cat, or so she tells me. Daylight savings has been such an issue because she's now like really starting to ask for food. Not that like daylight savings was any time recently, but she has her own clock and she's not budging. It's no, I've made some mistakes. I have some egrets. I still don't understand what any of those words mean, Pat. Oh, because egret is a card. It's a bird. It took me a while. The stakes part is, yeah, okay, something else. There's only 9 games right now. Standard up and standard are pretty similar. Spin Doctor is going to provide a lot of extra cards. It's going to be good. We have cards. Near Earth Hub is like the best card draw by a mile. The issue then is like, can we ever afford to score an agenda behind a Funhouse? And that it's a bit dubious. Like we really need early Marylands, and we ended up cutting the Mumbets, which if you can get 2 credits a turn, like that's obviously massive compared to everything else. Wow, you have an evil twin. Yep. No one wants to play the streamer. I honestly don't know what that's like. I hope I'm nice enough, and it's a really easy way to like to also watch a review, because not a lot of people I think review their footage, so you can see like, oh, this is what it looks like from the other side of the table, which is kind of like a rare treat for a lot of people. Now that being said, the issue is somebody knows what we're playing and then maybe, you know, plays their wizard deck or whatever. I have a feeling Snare is going to be too expensive for us. There's a big chance. But that's the thing, is we're going to spend turns clicking up to 3 or up to 4, like clicking for 3. I played this sort of archetype back in the day where like a single tag was a bit more scary. We still had False Lead, but we had closed accounts, we had Snare, we had Sweep Sweep, which is like a fantastic card because you can play it on 1 credit. Ah, Steve. Oh, this hand's really quite not great. So we're looking for an ice for HQ as soon as possible for Steve. They're on 47 cards. Sneak Door's gonna come eventually. We're gonna mulligan for an ice. Oh, Funhouse on HQ is quite ugly. I left to play some dinner and you cut the Mumbeds. Milla, you gotta stay frosty. You gotta tell somebody else in chat to be like, I need to step away for a second. Please don't let him do this. I have a feeling we don't have enough money. Deck title led astray. False led astray. I get it. All right. Opening hand, not good. Pretty bad. Getting better. All right. Now, if we res this and go down to 0, oh my god, is it bad? Very bad opening. Very, very quite bad. That Wayland card, 3 click 6 credits on -1 bad publicity. Could have fit the deck if you wanted to spend an entire turn clicking for credits. It's not the worst, Paul, and that does show up in like some horizontal decks, specifically decks that want to like goad the opponent into interaction. Actually, I think I'd rather play Regolith in here because it's like, you know, a flexible card, and then we can get money off of it at the same time as also using our Near Earth Hub ability. And Near Earth Hub is one of the abilities that you really want to install once per turn to keep going through your deck. So it's a bit trickier to do the break, what's it called? Not breakneck, but the roughneck mining. But yeah, I think Regolith might be a bit more well positioned. But those cards will show up in decks that want people to interact and force them to end up taking tags because they hit hard in use. Hey, you see her? You see a wild cat? It's Halen outside. She's trying to figure it all out. What do you mean the rain is hard? This doesn't make any sense. It's pretty dark. This camera is not as good in the dark as the old one. And the colors, I'm very, very quite warm. They know it's a funhouse on HQ and they didn't run it, which I think is wild. Considering that's going to be all of our money. Nanako, my love. Yeah. Lamilla, it's her 5th birthday on next Saturday, on the 26th. I think that's next Saturday. She's turning 5. Got a whole box of presents. Hard rocks falling for the sky. Van Halen. I didn't see the Wildcat strike. Hey. Right there under persistence. Yeah, Ian, there's a cat. How's it going? 2 cats, in fact. Oh, wow. Rashida. Okay. Oh, this Amaku, it looks like it's going to be a problem, and it's going to be a problem, but not entirely because we still have tricks. Okay. Malia will blank on nothing. We're getting a couple agendas in there, huh? It's a daily business show. These are not the agendas we want to put on the table. We need Andre cam and a cat cam. She moves way too much for a cam to make a lot of sense. Like, this is not the time of the day where she will sit here. She'll sit with Maddie because she likes cuddling in private. Like, she'll be cuddling with Maddie and then I show up and she's like, no, I wasn't cuddling. And she'll just walk away. Totally aloof. No one can know. I love you both equally. Yeah, right. I guess R&D? I don't know. I'll put this out here. They'll probably end up trashing it. I wish we had better things to trash. We could lose on this turn. Yikes. Fresh haircut? Yeah, thank you. I got a haircut for the first time since like November. Appreciate. Happy early birthday, Nanako. Big milestone. It is a big cat milestone. It's like another 11 years until she can start smoking. I think 15 until she can start drinking, but hey, she'll get there. Thanks, Ian. All right, they're not interacting. They're terrified of our shell game. Well, the Brez a daily business show because it can't get worse than that. You can smoke when 16 in Canada. I think you can buy cigarettes when 16. Maybe it's 18. They guessed acid. It's a daily business show. I'm in year 2 of cutting my own hair. How's it been going? I'm honestly kind of envious. I haven't had a haircut since July or August 2019. Whoa. Is it a problem in the mill, or is it like, this is a cool thing you got going? Because I could see it either way. Just archives. Just checking. Seeing if there's a spin doctor on the table. Getting that turtle counter. It's a shame to throw this out, but this is for the Miss Bones, the Malia. Okay. Fantastic. So we're gonna draw 3. Fantastic. This is terrible. It's nice to be able to have it short all the time. The problem is that it looks like shit, lol. That's very funny. It's probably not that bad. Oh, this is an absolute nightmare. New remote? Okay. New remote, I guess. 7 cards? Oh, we should have got money off the predictive. We should not have done this. Hold on. We need the money because they're gonna start running. Excuse me. So we'll throw out one of each, I guess. But no one seems to put my immediate family, pretty much. I don't mind that much. I'm just real shaggy, but I'm certainly not gonna get a cut. I'm still living the pandemic life. What do you think it's gonna take, Linmilla? Like, are you able to, or you just like would rather not to? Because here, the restrictions are lifting, but obviously to each their own. In our little mountain town, all the high school boys are growing mullets. It's so weird. Oh, you're gonna start a hockey team soon. Oh, it's gonna be so good. I honestly did have well, because I normally have my hair pretty long at the front. If I did not have that, I would have had a mullet yesterday or like 2 days ago. The deck list made it look like you would game faster than you could put them down. Tell me about it. And then you draw 3 agendas. Like, I probably should have just put the Beal on the table and we could have scored out. Well, lots of bowl cuts are in right now. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, being NEH it's been okay. We haven't drawn the stuff that we want to put on the table. Like an Amazing Amusements into a Bologna. Like now we have a brew, but like we have no punishment. It's been bad. Also, oh my god, we still have stock buyback in the deck, and the deck is now only 9 agendas. So that is something that we should have reconsidered once we fundamentally altered the deck in the last 30 seconds. I'm able to, but I'm definitely still not comfortable going out. The numbers are quite nar. Bummer. Sorry about that. Yeah, stonk buyback's pretty bad right now. All right, they're checking here. The Malia Zaloka. I have to get haircuts. Draw back the job. That is, it's such a wild thing. I'm not sure. Oh, I take it in food, huh? But, you know, asking people to like, you know, you have to look like the way we want you to look. All good. Yeah, I don't know. I get uncomfortable when someone tells me to dress a certain way for work, but hey, I'm sure I have some privilege where it's not that big of a deal. Yeah, the buyback is going to be embarrassingly bad. All right, don't play a resource. Okay. New remote. Fantastic. Good stuff. Have money. And this is where they're going to run HQ. And we're going to go down to 4 credits. Maybe advanced assembly lines better than stonk? I don't know. Honestly, I'm not sure. Oh, defense force. Oh, that tracks way more. Excuse me. That's definitely a thing that people care what people look like. And that one I think makes more sense. Yeah, there you go. Running HQ. Good, good. Just some Bolognas in here. Just a funhouse. If we res the funhouse, we go down to 4. Then we can res this stuff. This good stuff. Oh yeah, 4 strength. Okay. Enjoy your tag, bucko. And then they can get back their free money cards. Had a bad start. Not going good. Enjoy. Mumbad over stonk? Mumbad would be okay. I just wish that we had more stuff in our deck that we could just put on the table. Like maybe we play less ice. Yeah, you can have a mutual favor all you want. Why did you choose? Mutual favor is useless when you have an Amakua for. You were not having that card back. The Axis is seamless. Wow. We got away with that. Seamless Beal doesn't do anything. That's fine. Still cool. And we don't have tag punishment. Like, we need to give them the Bologna. Honestly, we probably should feed them the Bologna. Just so that we have an exchange of information play. It's gone for 2 seconds. It's going fine. We're in control. All right. Bravado Turnpike. What's the website that folks use to manage small tournaments? Sibley, how's it going? A lot of times it's cobra.ai. So like Cobra AI. That's usually what people use. Lona plus Amaze would be nice to get you started. It would be quite good. Do you have an Amazing deck? I think we have 2. I don't think we do anything. We just give them the Beal. I really wish that was a Bologna. I don't want to give them the ping because they have a click left. If we res this, they lose 2 credits. We lose 2 credits. Seems just. Yeah, Cobra's really good. No, they're bravadoing it. If it wasn't obvious, it was probably not obvious. Yeah, I'm gonna call this one a loss, y'all. This looks remarkably bad. And they're gonna gain 5 credits. I heard, do we have an amazing deck? Yeah, we got 2, and I'm thinking we don't even have 1. Yeah, I don't think we had 1. We've had a really bad day of Netrunner this evening. That's fine. That's fine. 12 credits. Back to drawing board. Oh, yeah. Mutual favor. What are you getting? A Begalter. Okay. Well, we're never going to purge this. I don't think. Okay. Ah. That's actually quite bad. We probably should have advanced that once. Yeah, because we're going to be on game point. Yeah, no, this is terrible. This is actually really quite bad. Yeah, we didn't like, so we want to get stuff on the table that generates some sort of lock, right? Tiered sub is like, I'm kind of considering it, but like, it's like, imagine we drew a tiered sub here. We'd be, I guess, not that upset. The 1/3 agenda that increases hand sizes is quite bad. It is not something we really want to do. Like, I'd much rather have like AR enhanced security, something that makes trashing our stuff more important. Hand size really isn't that relevant. Like, we just want to install everything. The issue is like, we have other problems that are compounding this, right? Like, we can't install a bunch of stuff because we don't have the money. Or we're just drawing really awkward. Falsified credentials, finding a Bologna in server 4, so they could go in here and they're doing it perfectly, not doing it on last click. But like, oh my god, wait, what are we doing? We took the 15 minutes out of the deck and we have exchange of information? Ah. You can amaze amusements on your hand, allow them to steal from hand and psycho. Yeah, but they can like, okay, so Maze Amusements Bologna doesn't work amazingly, right? Because they can just refuse to steal the Bologna, trash the Maze Amusements, right? Like it's actually better with agendas that don't have an additional cost because then they can't refuse them. We're just gonna roll over here. Right, and the Maze Amusements is only 2 tags too, right? Like it's you can't psycho a 5/3 on 2 tags. Yeah, this is bad. We could have hard hitting news them here though. Fortunately, we don't have it. I'm gonna draw once. Right now it's a problem, right? Because the Maze Amusements does nothing unless it's on a false lead. I just don't think they're gonna run it. Oh, we have buyback value. We can still win. We need to score a 1/3. We need to find a false lead. I forgot how few now 1-pointers we have. Amazed with a bunch of cheap agendas, make them too many tags. That was where we started, but then we took out all the small agendas because of reasons. Yeah. And I think we're only on 2 amazes, but the maze would be really nice here. The issue is they're on game point. We should have fed them the Bologna first, not the Beal. Because I don't think scoring out the Beal actually matters. We need to get a 1-pointer on the table, like a 15 minutes, just so that we have exchange. Or ping into, if we had quantum predictive model also would be pretty nice, but we cut that. Oh, they back up in the money. What is this, a pop-up? That'd be fine. So there's, I think, only 2 Beals. 3 Bolognas? I don't think it's 3 Beals. Oh, we're in trouble. And we bottomed. How cute are you trying to be? Always super cute. Oh. The price like stack in here would actually be pretty good. Just doesn't do that much. Okay, so we don't res any of these. Okay. So here was where I wish we had the price hack. Looking to install so many cards, I feel like 5-cost agendas are almost impossible to score for you. Yeah, a lot of times we wanted to exchange them, but again, the amount of exchange we have this is all very, very half-baked. I think having a lot of little guys to put on the table might be a bit better, but I feel like we need more punishment. Also, like maybe even 3 ones with sync rerouting or the sync lockdown would be okay. because we could install, maybe Jeeves install, sync. That's fun. Yeah, maybe we can try that more. Oh, we could have drawn actually. Boom. 5. False lead on outside, snare into server. We know that Steve is gonna run HQ. So I kind of want to keep this in hand. I hate when we install like this and then they never run it. Like that's always a nightmare. Like I wish we put the price tag in this remote server so much because that's 3 tags and the ping, which means they're definitely going to end tagged, which means that we can't do anything because we have no tag punishment. That's relevant. Which is why the list needs a 15 minutes because you can score that out of hand and then 15 minutes is alive and well. But I almost never commit to snare in remote servers because people like sometimes like I don't want to deal with this. I'm just going to run centrals and that's how you get them. Are there cards that allow you to install several cards at a time? Kinda. No, actually, I don't think so anymore. There's cards that let you clicklessly install. There's cards that let you even for Mirror Morph, yeah, it doesn't exist anymore, unfortunately. But cards like that generally don't see play outside of like wild combo decks or cards with like decks with absurd amount of draw. Because the idea of having that in hand and 3 other things you want to install at the same time just didn't line up in most like vanilla decks. Fast break? Oh, I guess so. Yeah, fast break's a card. Yeah, okay. That's fine. This doesn't seem that good, right? Because they're spending 1, they're spending 2, they have to clear tags, so that's like 5 credits. Take 5 credits, they get their trigger. Like that's the best part of this, I think. But us going from 14 to 9 doesn't change that much. If identity is an acceptable carb type, there's Asa Group. The Haley of Corpse. The issue though is if we ever have to forfeit the false lead, which card do you want to remove from the game? I don't want you to run. If we ever have to forfeit the false lead so they stick the tag, we have no target again for exchange of information. So it's a bit of a numbo. Exchange of information. Wait, this makes no sense that we're throwing out a 1-pointer to exchange of information. Like we just need boom in this deck. What are we doing? What are we doing? Yeah, okay. Actually, that might not have been worth shuffling. Because now some of our agendas we bottomed are no longer bottomed. This is unique. Yeah, we'll score it out. We need to score another 1-pointer. Yeah, this is really quite bad. This is what happens when I don't plan what we're going to do too well. And we end up just like building something that's like a half-baked idea. That's okay. Do we still have a news team? No, we cut them. They'd be good now. They'd actually be all right. Well, only around the 2 balloons left. When do I gotta wait for you to use that click? I can use it before you 3rd click. Yeah. Because this card says the runner can lose 2 clicks. We can in theory do it on 1st or 2nd too. It's generally not done like that. But oh, there's a sneak door. Oh, that's why we have a snare. Trash the Begalter. Because their MU is goofed. But we could lose right here for sure. Trash the Rizeki. That's surprising. I don't know why you would are you really maybe scared of potentially Hydra? Single access and HQ, get their Steve ability. It's a snare. I'll keep that in hand. Well, I'll trigger it. Amina sure gamble boomerang down. They have 1 less card. That could have been it. They take a tag. Oh no, that's fine. None of these cards are that important. Did they not get their Steve ability? Why not? Why did they not get their Steve ability? Oh, we could force them to have a tag. No, that's not relevant for us, is it? That's all good. So here is where if you had like any sort of meat damage, we would have won the game, which is the idea with this deck, right? Like if we actually ran Wayland to meat damage. If we trash a false line now, we got nothing. Nah. Like we can't kill them. There's no resources for us to trash. It doesn't really change anything. Gotta bury that. Yikes. Res. Stock buyback's fine. So we want to keep 7 because we want to discard. We want to throw at probably both of them. I just put the game into R&D because they're going to hit HQ every turn. We would want a pop-up window in archives. That'd be good enough for us. So I think we just drop. We credit like we're a bit weaker to diversion. So I don't love crediting here. Do we have a Jeeves on the table? No. Think we got the snare back? I think we need to bury the agendas or we're gonna lose. Like, it's up to them to lose the snare. I don't think they're gonna lose the snare. We can't really afford snare anyways. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I think we just might do credit. We've already got our what's it called, install, our value install. But they're gonna hit HQ every turn. We can't keep any of these in hand. We need to get these back in the deck and hopefully bottom them with Daily Business Show. Because if we see these off Daily Business Show and bottom them, then as long as we don't shuffle, which we're kind of in control of. What is this? Oh, a price deck, right? It's awkward too, because you don't want to solve the price deck because you lose your card draw. Deuces. Draw 2, gain 3. This is such a cool card too, because when it came out, people only used the draw 2, gain 3, and now you see it way more often for the exposed piece ice make run, remove tag. Admittedly, it's a different game than it was back then, but the expose and run, especially with Amakua, like you're seeing it more often than not. They don't need it now for sure. They only have 1 card in hand. All good. I really don't know how we're gonna get this false lead unless we score another one, and then we do an exchange. But I'm not gonna false lead unless they have a tag. If you get 2 false leads, you can trade it for a Bologna, which is like okay. But yeah, this is gonna be a bit miserable. Yeah, there's a diversion. That's why we didn't want to go exactly to 5, but they're gonna end with a tag here. Again, whoa, they're gonna end with a tag here. How does expose work? They get a look at the card and just remember what it is. Oh, now we get a free exchange. I'll take that. Huh. Well, that made it a lot easier for us. Wow, that made it a lot easier for us. You can have a deuces. I'm so surprised. I guess we'll put this in server 6. Order lull. We should have done a new remote first. Well, we'll just do this. So exchange because they're tagged. Now that's a card we want to shuffle back in with the Spin Doctor eventually. And either we can get 5 credits or we can get a Maryland on the table. The Maryland on the table actually doesn't matter because we don't have the money. So I'm just going to do this. There's another diversion. If they run HQ, they can do double diversion. So this is kind of the issue with Steve. But at least the Funhouse is still annoying and they still have a tag. So if they run HQ twice, they could consider floating tags too here. The psychographics is in the bin, right? Yeah. No, it's not. We put it back. Imagine if they could use the false lead. Their choice. Sneak door beta. Now they're gonna do doof. Hit the seamless. It's the only card they can't trash. There's also a card they know that's in there. Why are they not using the Steve ability? Are they choosing not to use it? Because it should trigger off of a sneak door beta, right? Like, that seems very obvious that it would. Are they opting not to use the Steve ability? Which sometimes you do if you don't have 2 of the same cards, but they both have 2 gambles and 2 diversions. Why wouldn't they use it? Interesting. Is there anything that we're missing that like is a good reason why they wouldn't use it? I guess order has been really suboptimal. I'm not going to deny that. And we'll get that iced up. Okay, so we scored the Beal. We're technically on game point. And now they have to start considering running everything. We have another Maryland here, which is okay. This pop-up window is just good enough. It's just good enough. 2 credit swing is fine. It gives us the money. And the pink here means, again, 3 tags. I wish we had the price sec in here. I really regret this server 6 price sec. We could have just put it all in one remote. I was just worried that they would run it and they'd trash the Amaze before it does anything. So I don't know if they think it's Amaze. Actually, Elwin's watching, so it's inside job. Oof, inside job, interesting. So if we res the pink here, like it's not the cost of the ping, it's giving them the tag. So this will give them 3 tags. I feel like we want to keep the ping for it to matter, but like I just don't see how a single tag could matter at this point. I'm not resing that. We have to res the Amaze though. So they bypass this so they don't encounter it. Oh, because it's their turn, right? So they choose their ability before this ability. All good? Because this bypasses the first ice they encounter, not the first ice they approach, so it's not eaten by a face down ice. And they also can't refuse to steal the card. Because it's not an additional cost to steal. It's when an agenda is stolen. Man, imagine Musashi was running like this. It'd be so strong. Whenever a run on the server ends, if the runner stole any agendas, take 2 net damage. That would be disgusting. And it would just be a prison deck on every central. There, I'm game point again. Can't fall asleep now. They're on 4. Yeah, this is bad. We could have just hard hitting newsed like a year ago if we put in the deck. And then psychographics. So yeah, I feel like the single tag strat just isn't relevant anymore. Do we have a Jeeves on the table? No, we don't. Well, now we do. Oh, we could put these both in here. Okay, that's fine. The second false lead starts to not matter again. We have to use a spin doctor to get exchanges back in the deck. With a single exchange, like I don't know what we can do. Does their deck have resources? It literally does not have resources. Unless their whole hand is resources. I don't know if they do. Anakam? Very good. All right. So we don't have to decide to res the Jeeves now. We can always decide to res it after. So if we res this, yeah, I think we res the Jeeves to score the false lead. So we need to get another exchange in the works. Now the last blown is like a liability, and this draws a card. We could consider putting that in server 4. And another spin doctor is really important that we keep that. We also could consider purging. Might not be the worst idea to actually consider purging, because with Jeeves, purging is not that bad, because we can purge, draw to install. Yeah, we might be fine with that. We also could have seamless there, but then we don't get Jeeves. So kind of a nombo. Yeah, kind of weird. So we might as well. I guess it saves us a credit. Why is seamless in the list? Why, like, we made changes to the list and not realize like the you know the repercussions of it, because we had seamless in this list because we had fly on the wall and we had that as a combo, and then we cut the seamlesses, but we didn't cut. Or sorry, the other way around. Oh man, that's pretty embarrassing. Let's pop a window. There's actually the winning agendas are definitely in here. I don't think we. Oh, there's 11 cards left in R&D. Oh my god. Do we just get the credit? Yeah. Fire all? Okay. You can break it too with Amakua. Unless they want to end the run. I don't think they do. This could be it. There's a lot of neat synergies, but they kind of fell apart with space issues. Yeah, I know. We bit off a lot, and then we are left with all these like leftover synergies that don't do anything. It's awkward for sure. We might not shuffle with the Maryland because I think we have bottoms and stuff. Yeah, now we'll do this, and now they'll go back into our archives, which I think is smart. Unless we keep one in here, but I don't think we can afford to. We have another spin doctor though. The issue is it's going to drop. Okay. Click for credit. Okay. Oh, yikes. How do we win? Okay, so we know this is on the bottom. We need a news team. It's too terrifying. I think we're gonna do a purge. And then we're gonna, this issue is that this ping does not keep them out. If we had IP blocks, oh my god, things would be so good. And then it's the Maryland, I think it's gonna be the spin doctor because we need to get the exchange back in as soon as possible. This draws a card. We'll just do it on server 6. All right. Money, their money is not good. I'm surprised they kept the bulk altar and Tresha Rozeki. There'll be another 4 or 5 credits at this point. They've also been opting not to use receivability, which I'm a bit confused about. Maybe we'll find out after the game. So now they could be a bit scared of a face check. On 8 credits, we can't res a Hydra. So it's like toll booth is the worst, but if we res a toll booth, like we're financially ruined. Now, maybe they're pinned by the Somalia, so they're not playing resources as long as they're non-virtual, which would be interesting. A turning wheel would be disastrous for us right now. But like if they played a class act, we'll blank it. Daily cast will blank. Oh, they're running this. We have to res this. Oh, sick. So we'll shuffle back in. The exchange, for sure. The seamless is kind of interesting because we can never advance out oh, we already can with Jeeves with a single one, 5-3. But we just shuffled, so the bottom doesn't actually matter. And then we'll add back in the snare. And now, oh, sorry. You can't jack out there. I'm popping that once you commit to an access. Yeah, you can't just jack out. So I basically wait until they say successful run, yes, and then I can pop the spin doctor. And then they're committed, they have to access server 6. Oh, they undid it. Oh, beans. They could just run back. That's fine. It was this and that. Not further action. Yeah, now they still have the access. Now they're on 4, so if they're playing against Mumbet City, Mumbet Virtual Tour, which they might be, they don't have to hit it. We hit a paperclip, which actually helps them. I don't think they're going to trash this. But they do have a tag. Hold on. Exchange is not going to be that good. Hold, thinking. Never mind. All good. What are we doing? This deck makes literally no sense. Like, we have to sacrifice our 1-pointer to have the exchange be a thing. And then we have nothing to exchange. Like, this is so bad. We just did not think this through. Apologies if you're watching this. Yeah, we might as well shuffle. Get more cards in the deck. Okay. Money actually might be an issue here. They might not be able to steal this. I doubt it, though. How much money do we need to score this? So we're going to raise that for 4. We go down to 4. We would need 4. Let's hope. Swapping flies for leads really led us into different directions. It really did. It really goofed up a lot of our stuff. And we actually had some really cool plays there. Because fly is like a perfect setup. Because you score fly, they have a tag, and then you go straight to exchange. Like, I think that we had a plan there. Like, the seamless fly is actually quite sick on a never advanced plan. I liked it. Now, we could win here. They only have 3 credits. They need to get through all this stuff and have Bologna. And while this ice isn't expensive, this does take a credit off them. This does take a credit off them. But like a single overclock here is a problem. I think we won unless they overclock. Or win off of centrals. Oh, we win. If they trash the Jeeves, we don't win. We should have installed the Jeeves here on the table, not the spin doctor. But if we trashed the Jeeves, we would have, they trashed the Jeeves, they would have, Okay, I think we got there, right? Yeah, we should have considered a redundant Jeeves. Whew. Okay, they were on game point for a while, pushed them off game point, and then they're back on game point. I feel like, though, if they fired the Steve ability and pulled back things like Diversion, they could have had much more control there. You ever play Extended or normally just start up in Standard? What's Extended, Swordbearer? I don't even know what that is. I am surprised you trashed the Rozeki back there. I feel like you get through everything quite fine with your Amakua. Were there a couple times where you chose not to fire Steve? Got tilted, played bad, but tilted right back. We'll get him. Yeah, I'm surprised. I don't know why they didn't fire Steve. That's like so much value. I think it was more than once. Was that a choice? Was that a was there, did you, like, how do you ask, did you have a plan without sounding rude? I feel like it was more than once. I think it was twice, maybe even 3 times. I feel like the Steve triggers could have been been very powerful. I think you had access to 2 doof and 2 gambles on one. Sneak doors. Called Eternal. Oh, Eternal. Yeah, yeah. I haven't played a lot of Eternal, especially since they revamped the list. I think we played 1 or 2, but like we net decked other people's decks. I haven't played enough of it. But like, unfortunately, I don't actually play that much Netrunner. Like, you see almost all the Netrunner I play, for better for worse. So it generally would be if we're playing an event or something like that. I should be playing more for sure. Hey, no big deal. So what do we have left? I don't think there's any surprises, but man, we backpedaled and made that deck so much worse. We had some good ideas and then we pivoted. They had a tomorrow's headline coming off the top. Eternal's fun, but a bit of an odd format. Sangren, why is it odd? Is it a balance thing? Hey, cheers. Also, I know that every second weekend, and I haven't participated in them, there is the RAM. And I know the RAM from this weekend, like, I don't know. I think RAM was is also like an interesting a format. I don't know if RAM excites me as much as Eternal, because Random Access Memories for me just seems like a puzzle, like who can build the most busted thing quickest. Because I feel like RAM has like a very solved deck once you like spend some time and figure it out. Because, you know, those were not sets meant to be balanced together. Maybe that's exciting. Veronica, Shark Eyes. Heck yeah. One of these days. Yo, Alan, good game. It's all good. Dowgene, how was Amaze? It was actually underperformant, but that's because we made some changes to the deck and lowered our agenda density to 9. And then we've quickly found ourselves in a situation where we had an Amaze, but then like they were on game point, so it was useless. So we made a lot of really bad decisions at the last minute, or like basically some of the decisions we made really threw off the rest of our deck. Like we went down to 9 agendas, but we still had like stock buyback and seamless launch. We went down to false lead, but then we also have exchange of information. This is our only 1 pointer. So the false lead becomes really quite bad. So like it was just really, 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 really poorly thought out. It's really unclear what the best decks are and a bit rock, paper, scissors. Oh, for Eternal. Yeah, I don't know if it's a solved format. 5:30 a.m. awake because grandma needed help to go to the bathroom twice. Oh, hopefully you're getting some good sleep. Hopefully your grandma is too. Sorry to hear that, Veronica. I hope everyone's okay. I really like the deck building emphasis of RAM, and I think RAM 5 had more options that we explored, but RAM is definitely not for everyone. Yeah, it's really cool to see. Like, I like looking at the deck lists, and people post them, right? Like, I think Koga had some lists, if I'm not mistaken, that I saw the other day. Oh, yeah. Eternal Diddy Rococo. Can you do better? I was looking at it, right? Oh no, it's throwback, excuse me. But yeah. I feel like it's a format that somebody can get to the best thing. And also the thing about that not irks me with RAM, but like in RAM tournaments, you're going to see that it gets very homogenous. Like I've seen RAM events where it's like, okay, you know, 12 out of the 16 players are all on Mati, right? And like, I don't blame them. I would take any excuse to play Mati in a format that it's allowed, but it's probably the right choice. And I feel like that sort of thing to me is not something I'm excited about for the tournament, but who knows? Watch some of you Sengrin's content on standard. What do you think Shaper needs to be more relevant right now? What do I think? Shaper needs to be more relevant right now? Honestly, the thing like now, right, with Shaper is the majority of cards I see play in Shaper to me are kind of really quite boring. Like the stuff they got from System Gateway is meant to be approachable and simple. So like some of the best cards they got, like Creative Commission, you know, VRcation to some extent, the click for 3 card, like they're not flashy. They're okay. In terms of like real pressure and win conditions, Shaper, not that a lot of other like factions have that much else. It's like, I honestly don't know. The whole sort of thing that Shaper has, and like when Shaper is good and exciting is like Shaper generally plays a very constructed toolbox deck, which isn't really a thing right now too much. Or Shaper just has like incredible value over time engines, which the game is a bit fast for that. I don't honestly know how to answer that. Agreed, the Mati Liza sports rams are tough. Yeah, and like Sengrin, I think the whole Liza thing is like fucking everything up really bad. Excuse my language, right? Like it's, can you play Rain and Reverie, play Liza? Like, and then you start seeing the meta develop where like, you know, HB decks are playing closed account, stuff like that. Yeah. Shaper got outpaced. I think they need earlier tools. Yeah, they're, you know, obviously a bit slow. That was kind of their design ethos back in the day. It's like stim hack out your magnum opus. Here we go. SMC. Here we go. And like none of that, like self-modifying code used to be such a big deal because it was like you can't rush out shapers because they put that in self-modifying code and they stim hack you as opposed to like anarchs, right? They could not do anything like that. But now like everyone has boomerang, like kind of not necessary. Bodulus is the thing. Like everybody has tools that do something like that. And then the tools that are like really quintessentially interesting Shaper are the things that are like very bespoke solutions to niche problems that no one realistically has. And so it would be cool if those sort of cards, that type is playable, but like all that stuff is so like install hungry. And it's so like, you know, if the games are over in 10 turns, like why do you need Gabriel Selassie? Right now, I'll say Shapers is their Neo, Medium, and Conduit. No, right now it seems all Shaper is. Well, Shaper also is Riseki in a large way. Their Breaker Suite is like not amazing right now too. Like the best thing I think they have on the Breaker Suite, and it doesn't see a lot of play anymore, is Ngolo. But like they're generally importing a killer. They're generally importing a Fractor. Their decoders, like I don't even know what a good decoder is. I also think that Shaper deck I've been running lately is realistically good. I also do think that Shaper requires the most effort to be like something. Like all the Anarch decks have been pretty same for a long time. Just get free card draw from Max are good. All the criminal decks are pretty like realistically good. So I don't think that Shaper is like totally useless. I feel like you have to work the hardest to find something that's good. But I do think there's probably, yeah, like okay Shaper stuff out there. Sorry for the random questions. No, not at all. Games have got me excited. It's the first stream I've shown up to live. Swordbearer. The live stream is all about random questions. Seriously. Shaper, how is going to show up? Scrub. Shaper just doesn't fit into the Nisei game length for framework. Yeah, because Shaper is meant to be like the, like, you know, professional context, okay? This is if you asked me what a Shaper card was, if you asked me maybe 2 years ago, I'd say professional context is like quintessentially a Shaper card. But the problem with this card is like, you need to put it down on turn 1, and then it's going to be a very good card in like 15 clicks of this thing, right? Like, and you need to spend time at your, you know, your connection. But like the game is just a different pace for this sort of thing. Like the value over time proposition that Shaper classically gave does not line up with Nisei's Netrunner. And I don't think that's a bad thing. And I'm really excited to see Nisei, like, you know, print operations that are playable in Shaper that aren't some weird nonsense. And like cards like Onacom, which abstractly and honestly not abstractly, practically like support a more active and proactive Shaper. I'm a new player, but I do kind of feel that Shaper is just a color for tools for others to gank from. Yeah, and maybe that's largely because their play style is not particularly aggressive, so you don't feel like you're doing much when you're playing Shaper. But I don't think that's always the case. I'm super excited for Shaper and Borealis. Veronica, I am too. I think a lot of people are because they want something. I think Cypher, and Lady are what Shaper cards should be. I think that's actually a really good point, right? Like Cypher is really cool because it's a card that did also show up outside of Shaper, but it's like a very, very good tool that would be good in the modern meta, but it's also very pinpoint precision. It's unwieldy in some ways, but it's kind of exactly what you want. And this sort of thing is really fun. And Lady, we talked about earlier on the stream how Lady was a bit too good, but like Lady also would be fun modernly. It'd be even more powerful because it's cheaper when you simul-chip it in. But like, its idea is that this is something you have to think about. You actually have to plan your next couple turns, albeit it's still a very good aggressive card. And like, I don't know, everyone's playing Paperclip anyways. Shaper wants to dirtle around for late game advantage. Corpse, however, can punish with fast events or just value servers. Yeah, this is the speed of the game. I like to solve the problem by reinventing the universe. Complexity of Shaper cards of the Great Machine with dozens of moving pieces, more than the inevitable strong late game. Yeah, the issue though classically has always been with those like Rube Goldberg decks is that they are just too slow. There's just too many things they need to install, and like it's a problem when you need to like run the remote server on turn 2 and turn 4 consistently, right? It just doesn't line up. But I know what you mean. And for what it's worth, there were some like really good Shaper decks back in the day that were like very, you know, moving pieces, very fun parts. Like, you know what? This is a card and nobody plays it anymore. I honestly don't know if it's unplayable. I guess Boomerang kind of makes it so. But like these sort of decks back in the day, right? Like these Haley, all these moving wild pieces that you'd see in no other deck. Like this is the sign of a Shaper deck. It's like you don't know what some of these cards do, right? It's like, okay, this is a Shaper deck, but it's going to set up by having cards like Kangamato and Gabali, these cryptids that only break a single subroutine. But then we're also playing, of course, Tech Trader. So every time we have a trash can ability, we gain a credit. And then on top of that, we're going to play weird stuff like Grappling Hook, cool. And then we have Inti and Savant as backup breakers, right? Like this sort of list is really cool because it's like Shaper being able to use bespoke pieces to get something done. This is a really fun list to play. Laguna Velasco is a very, very strong card as banned. And yeah, I think Sengren also, again, obviously nailing it. It was so much the core of the economy around the Shaper tricks were designed around. Haley was the standard Shaper for such a long time. And we kept running into issues where you'd build just about any deck and the response would largely be just make this deck a Haley deck and it'll probably be better. And in some ways, it's the same sort of gating that I think we saw back in the day with HB Bioroid cards, where the HB Bioroid cards and the HB Bioroid economy was just so much lower compared to other corps because everybody just played Engineering the Future. And Engineering the Future was the HB identity, the de facto HB identity for like the first 4 or 5 years of Netrunner, because this just gave you money for doing the thing you're doing anyways. And so it was hard for the designers to print good economy cards in HB because in this one identity would have way too much money. And I do feel like the Haley's ability to double install, get that click compression, so you could go out of your way to have 21 resources that you could actively install in a game makes sense. And now without Haley, you do see them trying to fight back with things like the pantograph, but it's not getting there, right? So yeah, Haley has been a large, I wouldn't say problem, but like without Haley was like a huge bastion for these sort of ideas, right? Kate competed with Haley while they overlapped. I wouldn't even say that. Like, well, yes and no. Like Kate was good. Kate was just always good. But Haley, I think, allowed you to deliver that like click compression of over installation, and I think that was more exciting than just getting the raw rebate of this. I'd rather be able to install more cards and install my cards cheaper, at least for a Shaper player who wants to do wild stuff. And then Ashes decided to try and support Haley and Stealth, and then rotation plus the game not being just about ice just meant that the trade water for Ashes. Yeah. I'm always a fan of the mill strategies, though they never work. Laramie Fisk is apparently my boy. The mill strategies did work for a bit. They're very niche. I think right now they're largely unplayable. Just because like the biggest part was the Fisk seminar itself. It was like the dedicated mill card. Oh, not this guy, never this guy, but this thing. Without this, like there's just no support for that archetype really. Haley was peak 100%. Yeah, she was really, really great. Haley's fun. Fun Shaper was banned for store brand Crim Anarch. I think Tao's ability is really, really quite cool. Netrunner kind of inherently has a homogeny problem. Too easy to play something generically good, in my opinion. Yeah, potentially. And I think you're seeing the design get a bit more interesting. Like some of the design of these abilities are I think much more fascinating. Like Mirror Morph is abstractly generically good, but then you have to decide how to build your deck and play around it. I think Mirror Morph is like one of the coolest ideas, albeit not as the power level of everything else. Asa is like basically a direct reprint of Haley too, which is kind of fun. Orb gaming. Yeah. Random question. I've been playing any video games lately. I'm going to go home and binge some Total Warhammer 3. I've been playing VR. I did beat the true ending of Sifu, which I'm feeling pretty proud about that. But those kind of games are my jam. But I've been playing some VR mostly. and Sifu, which have been really good. A lot more board games than video games lately. Shaper's new cards feel like bad versions of their old cards? Oh, I don't know about that at all, Grim. I think the Shaper's new cards have been like wildly different than anything before them. Like the idea that you have, you know, just generically good operations or events, excuse me, like that's weird. Any good board game recommendations? Oh, yeah, it's really easy to do that. Right now, my partner and I have been playing Skytear a fair bit. I'm really enjoying it. We got into it last year. We're getting back into it this year, which is like a MOBA board game adaptation, which with a card game on top of it as well. It's really, really quite fun. It's a bit not hefty, but it's a big thing. What else have we been playing? We tried Arkham Horror for the LCG. We played one game of that. It's good. Other stuff that we're really excited to play. What's on the shelf? I've been playing Undaunted, the solo stuff. It's been really quite good. Cascadia. Every year, well, last year, Maddie and I, and this year too, we do a 10 by 10. So we basically nominate 10 board games and we play 10 games of those and we record how they went and our experiences. Final Girl, we've been playing a fair bit too, which has been really fun. Arkham Horror, we play a ton. I that's always like I have Arkham Horror just on my desk constantly. He struggles to find Arkham Horror. I was gonna pick this up, which used to be a deck, but it's the Empty Sleeves because we just finished our campaign. But we play Arkham Horror twice a week, all the time. I play Flesh and Blood, which is like a weird card game to recommend. I actually would not recommend Flesh and Blood in a lot of ways, but if there's a lot of ways that Flesh and Blood is fantastic, it's a bit of a asterisk next to it. But if you can play Flesh and Blood casually, oh my god, it's fun. Scrub, look into Cubitos, Clank and Space, and Moonrakers. All drafting games if you're into that. Cubitos is it's not a drafting game. I struggle with Cubitos. I own Cubitos. But like Cubitos is like Cubitos frustrates me in a way that a similar game to some extent, Quacks of Quedlinburg doesn't. Because Cubitos doesn't have a good enough of a catch-up mechanism. Like the way that I play Cubitos, or way I understand Cubitos. Let's talk about Cubitos for a bit. Cubitos is a racing game in which you have it's kind of like a deck builder, but instead of like drafting cards or getting cards into your deck, you get dice. And then every turn you can roll so many dice, and then you can bust if you overroll it. But my problem with Cubitos is a lot of times how you win in Cubitos, and specifically for the first 10 setups of different marketplaces that they recommend in the book, it feels more like a puzzle game. Like generally, I think there's only one right solution to scaling your engine to be able to be successful. I feel like the player who wins is not only the luckiest player to some extent, if not a large extent, but the player who can look at the mark and say like, okay, the right path is always this into this into this into this, which I find to be actually drastically different from my experience to other similar games like maybe Trains or Dominion or I guess Clank, in which there are more routes to success than like a solved issue or like a solved path. And Cubitos frustrates me because I think the person who's in lead just snowballs way fast. At least it's not that long. Oh, excuse me. Shaper is missing a bunch of cascading triggers that happen at instant speed. Like I want to see support for In the Groove to actually let it set you up a huge rig. Yeah, In the Groove is like that sort of like Haley-esque pace that is, and that is almost there, but it's not. I've been in love with War Chest recently, and abstract strategy games by designer of Undaunted. I played War Chest once or twice with Pat, and I think we did not get the rules correct. But I thought it was quite cool. But then I realized I have too many abstract games, and I don't think my partner doesn't like abstract games that much, so I don't play that many abstract games. But I'd be down to play more War Chest. I know it's the same people as Undaunted. I'm playing at the In the Groove deck in startup right now. It doesn't really need In the Groove, but it works with Cafe and SMC Simulchip. It doesn't work with SMC though. Oh, I see. If you use SMC, right? Yeah. I think you mean 3 additional copies for Gambles is pretty nice. I've been really into Yu-Gi-Oh lately with Master Duel. Yo, what a wacky card game. I've heard that, and I haven't played Yu-Gi-Oh since like the 6th or 7th grade, where we played a heck of a lot of it. Basically, the whole grade did. It was a gendered thing, unfortunately. But I know that like there are like Yu-Gi-Oh digital versions like inherently, or like it's just very generous and very ridiculous, but I don't like that style of game. How often is it better than Diesel? About once a game? SMC, it's a Rizaki, everyone bemoans it. Yeah, In the Groove is a bit difficult. I wonder if this card was like originally tested without the 0 cost condition. That was a bit busted. Shaper lost Stim plus SMC for some sure gambles. Shaper lost Stim hack plus SMC so that the game could be healthy. right? Like I do not see a world in which StimHack SMC is like a good thing for the game. Overclock is still pretty good, right? Like it's 5 credits less good, which is a huge difference. That's for sure. But like if Shaper, all the Shaper does is put down SMC and then StimHacks out their breaker, like I'm not interested in that. But I think a lot of people agree with you. That was their playstyle, right? Like just StimHack, haha, I got Flare, let's go. Well, not Flare, what's it called? Torch. I got Torch. I win. So I never liked that. It's really frustrating. I never liked playing against Doom Rig in general. I think In the Groove was a victim of last second nerfs because someone found a broken deck at the last second. I would not be surprised. It does look like that. Those sort of like weird clauses always seem like, oh, in testing, oh shit, we can't not put the card out, so just put a clause on it because somebody found some like tech trader SMC nonsense. I wasn't testing, but that's the story I heard. I totally believe it. Power creep is so silly in Yu-Gi-Oh! Most games you got about 2 turns each before the game is over. The power creep in Yu-Gi-Oh! Was so frustrating even as a kid. And I never bought Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards really. Like I just traded and got whatever I could off of like friends, where whoever would trade up. But like I remember when Yu-Gi-Oh! You can play a card on your turn that's 4 stars or less. Cards have a star rating. I don't know, like the stars can go up to like 12, 13 stars. I don't know. It's huge. But you can play a 4-star card on the table. And when I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! An 1800 attack card was good. And then the next set came out and it had 1900 vanilla 4 stars. And then 2000 vanilla 4 stars the next set. And it was just like, the fuck game design is this? What's happening, guys? Veronica, is this your deck? See, you found out the Twitch. The Twitch. No StimHack, no problem. This is the Twitch where you can post links. Everyone advertise your Etsy shop real quick. Lat, no StimHack, no problem. Lat does hate StimHack. He's happy in a post-StimHack world. Stargate, SMC, Rizeki, 3 Leech, an Imp. Ooh, 3 DZs. Yeah, you're going to need the what's it called? The MU for sure. I haven't played enough Paula's. Paula's? For each unique connection. You don't have any. You have Aesop's. Oh, interesting. I thought you'd have more. I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. Thank you. Oh, Cybertroop is a connection. Oh, cool. Oh, sorry. I sneezed real hard. Bless you. Thank you, Total. Thank you. I feel like I didn't sneeze totally properly and it's my throat scratchy. Paul's is another breakout the reading glasses card. Yeah, it's I haven't played this one in a while. It's like text that I think obviously makes a lot of sense why it is like this, as a like a, you know, a directory print of a classic card that had a lot of text on it as well. But it's also like Sting to me. I always have to reread it and be like, I think I know how it works, but you have to double check. Gesundheit, thank you. It also lets you manage your hand as lat and then you overclock. No, yeah, that's cool. That allows you to use your overclock credits that are wasted potentially. But Paul's is not as forgiving, right? Because so the card that existed before Paul's was Personal Workshop, and this card was so immensely powerful, and it was another huge StimHack problem. But the idea with Personal Workshop is all the cards that you would install in here had power counters equal to their cost, and you could spend a credit to remove a power counter. So the idea is that if you had errant credits on your StimHack, you could just be like, I'm gonna take one off this, one off this, one of this, which is a lot easier. Cafe plus DZ is really cool on the corpse turn, that's for sure. That does help you get that like sort of Kate/Haley-esque what's it called? Utility. Paul's 1 credit combo piece to do the dumb thing, otherwise it stays in the binder. Well, it's a bit harsh, but yeah, okay, I guess so. It costing 1 is really good. I wonder if this was less influence it would see play. Like a lot of the criminal decks run more connections than shapers. But again, that's like another piece where if they print 1 or 2 more really good shaper, what's it called? Especially in startup connections, this actually looks okay. The artist doesn't seem to be it. Anywho, I think that's it. I got a big day tomorrow. I said this earlier on the stream, but actually tomorrow's my last day at my job. So I gotta like send emails and be like, thanks, bye. Hit me up on my email address, which is like really awkward because I'm worried I'm gonna forget to email someone and then I feel really bad about it forever. So I don't know what to do. I still have to like back up some stuff and make sure everything's going good. But yeah, it's gonna be a day and a half tomorrow, that's for sure. But next week, oh, free time, huh? Good luck tomorrow. Thank you, Veronica. Sorry, it's off topic. Is there a good place to find a beginner system gateway deck? I can only find Catalyst and Syndicate decks. Yeah, Ben, real quick. Deck lists? go to search here, select allowed packs, and you just go only hit none and just hit system gateway. And that should get you more than just the catalyst. It's loading. Best of luck. Have a good one. Thank you, Paul. Thanks for hanging out, eh? I feel like a lot of factions are one or two more, and then one or two more were better than other decks. Yo, this should be loading because it's loading a lot of decks, but there you go. That's what you want to do, Ben. Just hit that button. Graham, thank you. Thanks for the stream. Enjoy the vacation. Thank you. Yeah, no, it's gonna be good. Yo, this is a promised. Thanks for streaming me. All the best tomorrow. Thank you. One of the things I'm gonna do with my time off, is I'm gonna be working more on writing code and stuff. So I'm gonna make a promise. I'm always a bit apprehensive of over promising, but yeah. Anyways, I did my undergraduate in computer science, but then I went off to do video stuff. So I kind of want to pivot a bit more back to computer science. So I'm gonna do some training and write some code again. So we're gonna get an AI that can beat the Chiriboga AI and can play system gateway only. I promise you that's what I'm gonna be working on. I've already started it. I'm writing it in Python, which probably isn't the best language to do it, but at this point it's what I know, so I'm gonna do it. But I'll keep you all updated because I'll be really excited to show you one day when we crush the Chiriboga AI. No, it'll be fun. I'll write something. It's gonna be good. Take care, y'all.